Morning and welcome to day 3 of this lovely competition of our European International ICC T20s. We've got our first game of the day with Norway against Spain, and we are here for the toss, and it's going to be tossed by Norway today. Tails is the call, and it is a heads. So, Norway have won the toss. Farrell, what are you going to do today?
We want to bowl first.
What makes you want to have a bowl first?
The outfield is wet, so we think that the ball will not go so fast today. So after the sun comes out, I think the ball will go much. It will not go so slow.
Fantastic. But so obviously you played 2 games on here at the moment, so we've seen improvement from you girls. So what are we looking forward to today?
Unfortunately, we lost the 2 matches we had yesterday and the day before that. But I believe in my girls, and I know that we can do much better than we have shown to you guys for the past 2 days. But today we will try to make our team happy.
Definitely. Well, all the best for today. Good luck. All to the team. And if I can have Elsbeth from Spain. So Elsbeth, having a bat first. What would you have done if you would have won the toss today?
I probably also would have fielded first because it is quite a dewy outfield. But yesterday, coming off that quite successful run chase, I think our girls are pumped. They'll be happy to bat, get back out in the middle and see if we can score some more runs.
Definitely. I mean, you had the first win ever for Spain yesterday, which was incredible. So massive congratulations there. So hopefully you get a second one today on the board. But going out to bat, do you know how you're going to tackle this one today?
I think we just want to try and take it easy. We know what the Norway attack is like bowling. We'll probably hit the runs when we can, but we've got 20 overs. We want to definitely be out there for the full 20 and get as many runs as possible on the board.
Well, good luck for today, and thank you very much. And that's the news from the toss. So Norway have won, and they're going to have a field first.
Took place just about 25 minutes ago. Norway winning the toss and electing to field on this dewy morning here at Desert Springs Resort. We're coming to you from the province of Almeria in southern Spain, bringing you this Women's T20 International Series under the umbrella of the International Cricket Council. And our first match of today pits the hosts Spain against Norway. Differing fortunes for these 2 sides so far. Norway have been rather up against it, having been bowled out for 36 and 46 in the tournament so far, and losing goes to get both games comfortably. Spain won last night in the darkness by the Duckworth-Lewis method. There wasn't the opportunity to finish the game. Finished in extraordinarily dark conditions with 2 slow bowlers on. The umpires correctly decided that play couldn't go on anymore, but Spain had done enough, needing just 12 runs off the last 3 overs. With 7 wickets in hand, they were the winners by Duckworth-Lewis of 14 runs. So that was their first match of the tournament. This is going to be their second. So back-to-back matches for them with a fairly short interlude in between as we start matches here at 9 o'clock local time. My name is Andrew Elliott, and I'm going to be bringing you coverage throughout the day, occasionally interspersed perhaps with a mystery guest or 2, but I have my faithful companion to my right. It is Warwickshire batting all-rounder Thea Brooks. How are you this morning, Thea?
Good morning. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm not bad at all. Well rested. Evening last night in the Crocodile Club, which was fairly convivial. We had our sponsors' evening, and I'll just break off as the first ball of this match is bowled by the Norway captain Fariel. There is a rather optimistic appeal for that, which is going comfortably over the stumps and possibly down leg side as well. So it's captain to captain to start off this match. Elspeth Fowler, Spain captain, is on strike. mention that this is an ICC match. There is another ICC match going on, which is not quite as well organised because we've started on time and they haven't. But there's a little matter of a 2020 World Cup final going on in Australia at the moment, at Melbourne. It's England versus Pakistan. For those of you who only concentrate on Associates cricket, you might not be aware of that, but I think most will be. Also due to start at exactly the same time as us, but Pakistan batting in that one, while we'll be concentrating on the Norway-Spain match in front of us. We will, of course, bring you coverage. We'll bring you updates interspersed through the action here from Desert Springs. Well, of course, this match here on your screens will be the focus of our attention. First run of the day accumulated by Elspeth Fowler.
Spain had a good day yesterday, I think, even though in the evening that they struggled a little bit in terms of the light. But I thought the batting performance that they had was exceptional with Naomi Hillman and Payal. I think the two of them did really well.
Well, no ball's been signalled for that one. We're going to assume it's on height.
I think one of the
followed up by a wide, and so the free hit will carry.
I think one of the things that have been very evident from these games so far are the amount of extras that have been bowled. But as we've said, this is under team's control, and hopefully, of course, across the course of the competition, we'll see that just continue to improve with all the practice that these girls are having on turf wickets. As reminded that the appeal's just gone up, but as a reminder, that was a free hit, so regardless, it wouldn't have been out.
It was also a very defensive shot for a free hit.
It was.
It was a dig in and survive this whatever, which is okay. We mentioned a lot. This is a tournament for developing players. May not have played that much under the free hit system, but we're back to normal play now. And Powell is off the mark. Payal Chilongia with two down to a wide third man gets her account opened.
Still one ball to come in this over, with the no ball and the wide had been bowled.
And very glad to have Thea back on hobby scoring duty, because we haven't got any graphics at the moment. Hoping to have them with you shortly. Can tell you it's 5 for no wicket, and just to add to the situation of having no graphics, is someone standing right in front of the scoreboard. And now gone. So it's just when you need it the most, there's someone standing in front of it. That's cricket. And that is one of the vagaries of cricket. Spectators love standing in front of a scoreboard, don't they?
Oh, they do.
All around the world.
It's either standing in front of a scoreboard or just pottering in front of a sight screen. It still happens, and you think, why? Surely, avid cricket fans.
It's one of my favourite moments of cricket when I see someone wander in front of a sight screen, stare at it. I wonder what this odd structure's for, and there's 15 people on the field going, "Oi!
No, get out
Here's
the way.
me!
Out the way!" Oh, we've got surnames on our screen today.
Yeah, this was mentioned in the post end of play meeting last night. That this was actually brought up by one of the sponsors, of which we have several, of course. This coverage is brought to you by Audiovisuales Murcia, but it's All in One is the company that sponsored that, and at their suggestion we've got second names predominantly on the screen rather than first ones. And it's something that we brought up in commentary yesterday, and I'm glad that someone's listening.
Good.
There's at least one person was listening to us yesterday. It's brings a more professional touch to it now that we've got P. Chilongia and E. Fowler on the screen.
Yeah.
As a bluff old traditionalist, I would love to. I'd like to have all the initials there.
See who's got the most. Well, it's good to see that the Norwegians are really raring to go for this game. Obviously, you can tell we spoke to Captain Fowler at the toss. It's not Fowler, sorry. It wasn't Fowler at all. We spoke to Fariel from Norway, and she said that she is really excited to get going today and hopefully get a win on the board, because the backing of the girls, they've got some good talent in Norway.
Yep, and I can't see the shirt number, but I'm fairly confident that Hina Hussein is opening the bowling from the far end. She's one of our... We like all these players, obviously, but there are certain ones that just stand out. They're easy to commentate on, and Hina's one of those because she's everywhere. She's a live wire. Ball seems to follow her in the field. She runs hard. She's athletic, and she's a credit to her nation.
She's had a good couple of games.
I'm sure that I should be corrected. I think that Norway's a republic. The president should be inviting her around for tea after this tournament, I feel. Along with her captain,
so.
of course.
Of course.
But yeah, Hina Hussein's been, well, to say she's been enthusiastic is an understatement. It sounds a little bit demeaning because she's performed well as well. But her enthusiasm is obvious from a distance.
No, I completely agree. I think with Norway, if people have been watching and when they have been watching or looking at scores, that I don't think that the scores have reflected actually how well I'd like to think that they've done.
Chance here, and yeah, that's out. Yes, Powell. Well, there seemed to be a bit of confusion. There wasn't some committed running, but in the end, we'll have to have a look at this on the replay. The bat broke free of her hand as she dived for the crease. She may have been short anyway, but we'll try and get a replay on this. But the technical challenges, which we've now got our graphics, but sometimes we found during this tournament that you get one thing and something else suffers. So we'll wait to see what happens on the replay front.
I think they were quite fortunate there, actually, Norway, because the position that the bowler got into when collecting that ball, she was significantly far away from the stump. So actually she had to gather it and throw it at her set of stumps. So a direct hit run out, which was very good from Hussein. But this is what I'm talking about. Norway are ready for this. They're up. They're at it. They've got their first wicket on the board in the second over. They're going to be fiery today, I reckon.
Yeah. Well, we haven't had a replay yet. It would be very intriguing to see exactly what happened there in terms of Powell's dive for the crease. So it was, she was pretty much done for when the bat broke free of her hand, but she might have been short anyway.
I saw quite a few dives from her yesterday. I thought she was going to injure herself at one point. She went down that many times.
Well, she seems happy doing it, so
of course.
Why not? Uso Saeed is the new batter, taking strike, and that was actually the end of the over as well. So as Powell was diving for the crease at the bowler's end, she'll immediately be on strike. Now, I didn't touch this on the last match yesterday because for those who aren't aware, I actually umpired the middle match yesterday because Nilkesh was feeling a bit under the weather. And there's something I've noticed, and I think us in the press have got a responsibility for this. The most significant change in the law that came in on the 1st of October. Here we've got the replay. We haven't got it from the best angle to see exactly what happened. We might get another look at that. But I've used, because there's been a lot of talk, even from day one and we're now into day 3, about this new law, about crossing. I managed to summarise it in 3 words. Crossing is disregarded. That's the new law. Crossing is disregarded. But the press have found so many different ways to word it.
They have.
That, I noticed, and you may have picked up on it because I know you're eagle-eyed yesterday. I think there were at least 3 occasions in the match where there was a wicket off the last ball of the over, and the incoming bat went to the striker's end at the other end to where the wicket fell. So I think the way it's been reported in the press, the new batter, the incoming bat, thinks they have to face the first ball, whatever happens, regardless of how the wicket happens. So it's just interesting as Elspeth Fowler looks to turn this around the corner, but gets a top edge. And there is someone in, a 45 on the one, who takes that catch, and you can see what it means to Norway. They are truly in a match for the first time, and the third time of asking at this tournament, as they've got Spain 9 for 2 with both openers out.
It is. It's a fantastic start for Norway, probably the most ideal start that they can have, but this does bring Naomi Hillman into the crease, who had a very, very good knock yesterday. She finished 41 not out when the light hit, so deprived of a half century, which is really, really disappointing, I think, on her side.
She scored about half of those in the dark.
She did, actually. I spoke to her after the game, and she was so focused on the ball, on kind of the game situation, that she didn't really notice how dark it was, and it wasn't until she charged down to one and she went, I just completely lost it. I didn't know where it was as soon as I left the crease. So, and I think it was one of those where actually it was a missed stumping opportunity. So, yeah, it was a good one, but it'll be good to see how she handles this pressure, being 9 for 2 into the third over.
Well, Naomi Hillman Bermejo has only just turned 16, and she played like someone of much more mature years yesterday. It was really impressive to see.
Yeah.
Spanish mother, of course, Spanish passport holder, but has learnt most of her cricket in Hampshire. Let's not try and cover that up. It's one of the things that helps developing cricket nations, is to have people with more experience in the side. Sounds strange to be saying someone who just turned 16 is probably one of the more experienced players in the squad, because she'd have certainly played on grass, which a lot of these women haven't done.
That's exactly right, and she's trained and coached under the watchful eye of Charlotte Edwards, again, as we mention her name time and time again.
She's omnipresent, Charlotte Edwards. She's such a huge figure in women's cricket, especially England women's cricket, but respected worldwide. And I'd like to think she's tuning into this, so good morning to you, Charlotte, wherever you are. She doesn't miss a beat when women's cricket's involved.
I agree. I won't be surprised.
So 3 overs under the belt of the Norway fielding outfit, 10 for 2. So an impressive start for Norway. They'll feel that they're, as I mentioned before, the third time of asking, they are competing in a match. Let's see how it goes. Hina Hussein's going to continue from the Crocodile Club end. Crocodile Club, where we had our sponsors meeting last night. Very pleasant surroundings.
It's lovely in there.
It is.
I had a great time.
It is, unless you like seeing your food.
It is very, very dark.
It is
I've
dark.
been blinded by your light on your phone for two meals now.
Yeah.
But it's necessary.
I have to switch on the torch on my phone so I can see what I'm eating. It's that type of place. It's a throwback to another era, or to another continent, to another culture maybe.
It is quite good though if you are quite fussy with your food, because if you don't know what you're eating, then you can't really complain. Whereas if it's very psychological,
yeah, makes me very tentative now. I want to see exactly what I'm eating.
Yeah, fair enough.
So forcing shot into the offside from Uzma Saeed, rotating the strike nicely. 2 singles off 3 balls so far in this over.
So I was really impressed with yesterday, watching the Italians innings. I think Chatharica, who scored majority of those runs for them, went between the wickets very, very well. She was not necessarily hitting as many boundaries as she probably would have liked to, but her rotation of the strike was sensational. She'd find the gap, and she'd even push and challenge fielders. She'd notice that they're on the edge of the ring, so a little tap and run every time. Easy singles. So it'd be good to see if these teams have learnt from watching that.
And the sun's making an appearance.
It is.
There's been hints. There's quite a lot of cloud around it, but it's quite light cloud, so we'll probably get this in and out sunshine for much of this first match, as there's a misfield. They say never run on a misfield, but there was a fairly obvious single there. I think if they'd gone initially, they'd have got it anyway, but the fumble just confirmed it.
Helps when the ball's thrown in at the wrong end. I think it should have gone to the bowler's end that time.
You're a harsh taskmaster. Mistress, I should say. Is that correct? You've been teaching me a lot of semantic language during this tournament, as this is heaved away for the first boundary of the match. Got what it deserved, really. It was a outside leg stump full toss around about knee height and hit away by Naomi Hillman Bermejo to spoil what was a good over from Hina Hussain up to that point. She's gone for 4 or 5 balls, but the boundary rather spoils things. Takes Spain to 18 for 2 after 4 overs. So Norway outperforming England at the moment by dint of taking those 2 wickets. I've just been absolutely dived on by some huge insect, which you might have heard hit. You might have heard it hit my headphones at high speed. I don't know what it was. It was huge. Do you see it?
I didn't know. So
you probably heard it.
You probably heard
it hit my earphones there. It was, I don't know. It came at me so hard and fast I couldn't see what it was. Anyway, we're going to change in the bowling here. This is slightly confusing for us. It's not the first time we've had this. Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
Yes, it's
Aisha.
I think that one's bounced twice, hasn't it?
Oh, I think we're just going to confirm it. I think it's just bounced twice. I'd get back though. Is it a dead ball?
Well, it's not a dead ball.
Interesting.
Okay, no ball has been called regarding the dead ball situation. It's not a dead ball for. I'm going to explain what's happened here. Is that the striker, Uzwa Saeed, has hit a ball which has bounced twice to an extra cover which has been caught. Now there is something that protects Uzwa Saeed, and that is a batter leaving the crease under the misapprehension that they're out. Fortunately, that doesn't affect the non-striker, and this might be coming back to a little theme we've had running through this tournament, is what's happened as soon as a wicket is perceived to have fallen.
Sorry, I was busy scoring.
So what's happened there is the striker thinks that she's out, so the 2 batters have walked towards
walk to each other, have a chat. Sorry.
So this is again development, learning curve. Stay in your crease until the umpires have made a decision.
Yeah, definitely.
Because only the striker is protected from being run out in that situation until the umpires call dead ball. So
I don't know these things.
Bit of chaos, but I think that one's has bounced. While that was going on, we didn't really concentrate on the free hit. But that one, the second bounce, I think, was after the popping crease.
Yeah, the free hit was hit. Ball. So the free hit was hit into mid-wicket for a dot ball.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. This is why I score. Or try to.
I umpire.
Exactly.
But yeah, that was interesting. We might see if we can have a word with Naeem at some point, and just one of these finer points of the sport as well. I'm not sure that is a no ball. Yeah, that one again has bounced twice, and we've seen Aisha Hassan bowl a few wides in this tournament, but we haven't seen her struggling with her length quite so much as she is at the moment. We've only had maybe 4 balls in the whole tournament that have bounced twice, I think, and we've had 2 of them in this over.
She's having a conversation from her teammates, which is nice, with an arm around the shoulder.
Arm around the shoulder, we love to see
nice
that.
To see. Exactly.
Yeah. You don't become a bad bowler overnight. That's the type of message I'll be delivering as a captain.
Not at all, and I think we had this conversation yesterday in terms of the height of no ball. So actually, it's okay that it's going short, because if it goes too full over the head, then she would have had to be taken off by now.
Yeah, she'd bowled 2 equivalents in the other direction.
Exactly.
At the striker, then should have been off, yeah. The umpires, and I'm included this, have taken the approach during this tournament that a high full toss will attract a warning if it's aimed, well not aimed, if it's heading towards, because of course it's not deliberate, if it's heading towards the batter. But those that don't threaten the batter because of their height or width don't attract a warning. You would have noticed there were quite a few yesterday in the middle match, which we had to deal with on the field. But we haven't had any suspensions yet in this tournament for illegal bowling or illegal following through or anything of that nature, which is good. But that's not to say it shouldn't happen if required, because it's there to protect the players. The last thing you want in cricket is someone getting injured by a bowler who shouldn't be bowling anymore because they've lost control to such an extent. So that's why the law's there. It's not to be harsh. It's not to discourage. It's just for the safety of the players. But happily, we haven't gone that far yet. And Aisha Hassan seems to have found a little bit more of a line and length now. She's found a bit of consistency in the second half of this over.
That's played lovely into the leg side. Oh, another slight misfield. It might be quite slippy out there with all the dew on the floor. A little bit wet. As they come through for a single.
Now wind's picking up. I made a policy decision at the beginning of the over to take my jacket off at the beginning of the innings rather, and I'm now wondering whether that was wise. But unfortunately, it's got a very high collar and it tends to bash my headphones a bit, which will reduce your viewing or listening pleasure. And I think that must have taken just a little bit of pad down the leg side. I detected some secondary movement there after it pitched, so that gets through the over. Much improved in the last 5 balls actually only went for 3 runs. So Aisha Hassan, that arm around the shoulder did the trick, because she really delivered some consistency to get through that over. 25 for 2, score after 5 overs. And we've got double bowling change. A few colds and throat infections. Since we're going through the crew and the players at Desert Springs, it's that sort of change of season where it's very much in the week since we were here for the men's tournament. It's a completely different season. We've definitely gone from summer, very extended summer. A lot of locals have been commenting on how long the summer has gone on here into November in southern Spain. I think it's definitively autumn now, and that change of climate has caused a few snuffles and what have you amongst the crew. So Ramya Imadi, who's taken up the attack from the Crocodile Club end, bowling to Naomi Hillman Bermejo. What an addition she's proving to be to this side. You think she's just turned 16. You think how many years she might possibly be able to play for the national side and help them develop the coming decades.
It's incredible.
You're looking a long way into the future, potentially.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. She's still got at least another, double her lifespan in there. At least another 16, 17 plus years. She's only a little...
A bit like Ravi that we had in the commentary box yesterday. He's now spent more than half his life living in Spain, having grown up in Birmingham. And you can definitely imagine Naomi reaching a point where she can say that she's been playing for the Spain national team for over half her life, having started so young. She, as Uzwat Saeed tucks this full toss, low full toss, off the legs. And they're running well, aren't they, Spain? They've had a tricky start to the innings, but they're now running, rotating the strike. There's only been one boundary.
Yeah, just the one boundary from Naomi.
Despite that, they're going just over 5 per over, which is good when you consider the lack of boundaries. And here's another one here, which is just hit to cover point. Now, I know this is we tried to avoid using. Going to positive expressions. This is one of your subjects. One of your keen subjects is field positioning. Now we've seen some strange field positionings from Norway in this tournament, and at the moment we've got the sort of backward square leg, which is neither on the single or on the boundary, which is an often repeated subject. But and we've got something similar at cover point, which is where they've just taken a single. So now they're playing a team which, I mean, Spain showed yesterday. They are able to hit the boundaries. What do you make of this field setup?
So again, it's one of those where if you're going to be off the boundary, you don't want to be too far off the boundary, which is exactly what these girls are. So I appreciate that the leg side boundary here is quite large. We've already seen Naomi hit strong shots, like the ball's coming off of her bat very beautifully. She's hitting the middle quite often. So at the moment, these fielders aren't covering anything. As you rightfully said, they're not going to stop a single and they're not going to save the boundary. So I don't mind seeing them 10 yards off the boundary, especially at square leg. I'd probably keep them on the rope, somewhere around deep mid wicket. As we look at the moment, I wouldn't mind seeing them, say, 5-10 yards off, only because of the dewy floor. But equally, where their fielders are currently, they're about 5 yards off of the inner circle. So roughly about 35 yards off from the centre. So there's always going to be a single. And if the ball passes them, as rightfully so, they're probably not going to stop it for the boundary. So at the moment, they're not actually doing any job, which isn't ideal for Norway. And as you've already mentioned, that Spain are going at 5 and over in their power play, which, to be honest, I think they're probably short. But after losing two early wickets, then they might be quite happy with that. But actually, the rotation of the strike is key, and that's what a lot of teams haven't had. And I mentioned Italy yesterday. They showed it really, really well, and they did it really well yesterday. So Spain have obviously taken some notes from there. But speaking to Captain Elspeth Fowler this morning, she at the toss, she just said, we need to build partnerships, continue rotating the strike, and bat the 20 overs. That's their key for today. So if these two can get a nice healthy partnership, as they're doing so far, I think they'll be en route to a little good total here.
Kumari Pooja is going to take up the attack now that the power play is done, so it'll be interesting to see what changes will be made in the field, but it will be 15 bowling to 15 at the start of this over. So 30 in the power play, as you mentioned. It's a decent effort, it's a solid effort. Given that they lost 2 wickets very early, I think they've done okay. Kumari Pooja, one of the slower bowlers in the tournament.
A bit disappointed with this fielding though from Norway. There's a lot of people who have tried to get their foot behind the ball, and I think that's rule number 1 in fielding. Get down, use your hands.
We need to get Corey on commentary. Ask him what he thinks of foot fielding. I mentioned it yesterday. He thinks it should be 1 run to the batting team every time someone deliberately uses the foot.
I enjoy a bit of a slide tackle when people go down. Slide tackle the ball.
Yeah, slide tackle. Yeah, so diving forwards, they dive feet first. somewhere very close to the boundary. Yeah, it's always. I mean, I wouldn't have contemplated going that way myself, but I never really played football, so sliding was never my thing.
I played a little bit at school. Football. Did enjoy it.
I was just about to say that this bowling really is asking the striker to put the pace on the ball, and as Saeed's done so very nicely there, just punched that ball between the 2 fielders on the offside in the ring and made them chase it all the way to the boundary. 2 runs resulting.
Well, I noticed there that Naomi was calling through because she thought there could have been a third on the throw, so I think that they might be communicating a little bit more now. in terms of looking at the throw as well. Can they sneak an extra one in? What the Spanish did well yesterday, is that they met the ball on the full a lot yesterday, which I think was really good. So a lot of teams so far, for the slower, more loopier balls, they've waited, and actually when it's slower, it's not bouncing at all for them, because it is quite soft, it's quite wet. It's now, we're a few games in on this wicket, so the ball isn't bouncing as much, so actually meeting it on the full is probably a better option.
Now, we're on field position watch. We have got 2 on the boundary now, which is good to see. We've got a long on and a deep mid wicket. We've got 2 others outside the ring who are in the in-between positions. They've finished. We've got an extra cover that's, well, not a deep extra cover, and we've got a deep mid off rather than a long off. So, to my mind, the ball's actually gone into the offside more. It's broken through the ring on the offside. So, I don't know what Norway have seen, which makes them feel they need a deep mid wicket and a long on when the ball is predominantly going to the offside, and they've got the 2 fielders in from the boundary on that side. So have a look at that maybe in the next over from this end, the better end. It's Ramya Imadi to continue. Just 4 runs off that last over from Pooja Kumari. And it's Naomi Ilman Bermejo to face up. Correction. That's Uzwa Saeed. How would you describe Imadi's action?
I quite like it, to be honest. I think it's a bit slingy, so there's not a lot of front arm in there, but I do quite like it. She gets through the crease quite nicely.
I've got a word for it. Adjective: flowery. It's quite a flowery action.
You might have to explain that for me a little bit.
I mean, the word flourish has its origins from the word flower.
Of course.
And it's quite a flourishy. So I didn't like flourishy as an adjective. Prefer flowery because there's a flourish to it. So it's more obvious on the actual monitor of what our viewers are seeing. But it sort of presents itself.
There's a big smile there after that delivery. Big shout for an LBW.
Wow.
Always shout from point.
Cover point was particularly enthusiastic about that LBW shout.
Oh, I'd be up. I always say, if the bowler and the keeper go up, I'll back them wherever I am on the pitch. I could be at deep square and I'd still go up. Everything's plumb from deep square though, isn't it?
I might have time to tell you a story after this over.
I'm looking forward to this. I hope that no one appealed apart from deep square and it was out.
Well,
I feel like it could be something similar.
Spoil the story, but
there's
a background to it. So you've kind of told the end of the story. But I was umpiring it. It was a youth, one of those sort of festival days, 9-a-side at Beddington Cricket Club, and the first team had posted a competitive total, and under the regulations of the tournament, batters had to retire on 25, and it was an open gender tournament, and the 2 opening batters had retired on 25, and who were good, and the following batters were not quite so strong, and there was, I think it was an under 13s, under 12, something like that. And there was a girl bowling at my end who was clearly good enough to hang it outside off stump, where they wouldn't score, but also wouldn't get them out. So we just see the flags over from the far side of the ground. These are at deep extra cover when the bowling's coming from the Crocodile Club end. So there are the nations represented in this tournament, barring the host. So from the left, you've got the Isle of Man, Italy Norway and Sweden. I think I've got those notes. Sorry, Sweden and Norway. Got them the wrong way around. We've got the all-Scandinavian clash later today. It's going to be confusing for someone like me who's never been to Scandinavia and struggles to differentiate, particularly between Norway and Sweden, because I think language-wise they're very similar. Going back to the story of this match. So the girl who was bowling at my end was good enough to hang it outside off stump, and it became obvious that they didn't want to take wickets because they didn't want to get the two openers back in. And unfortunately, the girl who was bowling at my end slipped in probably an unintentional straight one, which hit the batter flush on the pad, absolutely plumb LBW. And of course, the the bowler and the keeper said absolutely nothing.
Oh no. However,
deep cover on the boundary.
Oh.
Suddenly, it just sarcastically went, "How was that?" So of course my finger went straight up, and everyone was like, "What are you doing?"
Well, it's an appeal, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Appeal's an appeal.
Yeah, the umpire hears an appeal. He has to give a decision on it, whether out or not out. But you could see that deep cover wasn't as tuned into the plan as everyone else on the field.
Brilliant.
The fact that the appeal came from there was more than a little bit amusing. But he had to go, and
it's a great story.
The openers came back in and won the match.
Brilliant. It was always going to happen. I've had that before, playing for Worcestershire. My friend Claire Boycott, who I've played.
That's a great. You don't hear that
love it,
surname very often.
Well, her nickname's Jeff, obviously.
Yeah, but it's just not a surname you hear.
Boykeet.
Doesn't come along very often.
I doubt she's listening, but I hope you're doing well, kid. I think it was probably an under-13s, under-15s. She knows every single game of cricket that she's played, and it scares the hell out of me. So
she got a logbook.
I don't know, but if she were to say, if I were to say to her, "Do you remember that game where you just asked a question to the umpire and just went, 'How's that?' Like the only person on the pitch, obviously her as the bowler, she just went, 'How's that?' And he just finger straight up. She'd be able to tell you where it was, who it was against, and probably the batter, which is incredible. But it was just the most surreal thing that I've ever seen. It was just the turn-in.
It just reminded me of another occasion. Another schools final. I mean, local schools final, not even a county final. So not the greatest standard. But I remember a match years ago where, again, I was at striker's end on this occasion, and the batter was hit on the boot and didn't appear to have moved. And again, there was no tactical advantage this time, but the bowler and the keeper said nothing for whatever reason, and the square leg fielder who was standing right next to me just said, "How's that?" to me, and of course my colleague didn't hear it, and I didn't hear him say "not out," so I had to walk over and advise him there had been an appeal. And he said, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah."
Oh, no.
He said, "Well, that's a shame because it was absolutely plumb." So he had to give it out.
Oh,
these are vagaries of cricket.
You guys are harsh as umpires, aren't you? Just do your job properly.
Yeah.
It's annoying when people do that.
Unfortunately, when you're centrally appointed, you're almost umpiring to a code. It's a gentleman's code that you have to work with each other, and if your colleague hasn't heard an appeal, you have to let them know there's been one.
On a positive note, just going to intervene with what's happening in Australia. Is England have just taken their second wicket.
So they've caught up with Norway.
Ben Stokes taking the catch. Pakistan, I think that was said 42 for 2. I think it said.
Yeah, might have been 45.
Was it 45?
Yeah.
You're watching it more than I am.
No,
45 for 2.
Umpire's eyesight.
Yeah, very good.
Observing many things at the same time.
Of course.
But
it's good to know what else is going on in the world, especially with a final.
We're approaching the halfway point in the Spain innings, halfway through the 10th over. They've reached 38 for 2, so have slowed up a bit despite the fact they haven't lost any wickets for quite a while. Steady period. Got right down on the extras, Norway, and they've also ball seems to be finding the fielders that are on the one.
Well, within the last 4 overs, or 4.4, as I might say, they've only scored 10 runs.
Yeah.
Spain. So they've really slowed the run rate down.
Yeah, they got it down to 4. It was up just above 5 just a few overs ago. So again, Norway competing very much in this game. Imadi continues to wheel away from the Crocodile Club end. Would you recommend the Crocodile Club to anybody who is within 100 miles of this part of Spain?
I would. I think the staff are fantastic in there, and I think the food's lovely. The drinks are nice. I had another Ribena last night. That was fantastic.
Yeah, you love your Ribena.
It was from a
can't knock the child out of you, can we?
We cannot. It was from a different region though, which was lovely. I don't know what region.
It was a different region and vintage of Ribena, was it?
It was. Different type of grape.
See, people who based in England and spend all their time in England wouldn't realise the variety of Ribena that's available in Spain. People actually travel here just to sample it.
Also, my maths has been terrible as I look at my sheet of paper. Blimey, I can't add up.
That probably was something to do with the Ribena, I reckon.
I don't think it was. Let's just say that. 1 glass of Ribena is not going to harm me.
Well, you say that, but then you look at your maths.
Hey! Come on now.
Okay, so let's have a look at this field.
Cheers.
So we've got Kumari Puja continuing. Now, so she offers almost no pace on the ball to hit. So we've got a deep mid on. In the previous over we had a long on and a deep mid wicket both on the line. They've both come in some 15 yards. And we've also got a deep mid off. And we've got a backward square leg, not on the single. So we've got the 4 fielders outside the circle, which is their allowance. But none of them has given themselves the chance. But you could argue we still at the 1 boundary stage in this innings. Thea?
We are.
So could be argued they're not reaching the boundary with any regularity at all. But I would just, in that case, I would prefer to see a case in point here where the cover fielder is giving one and would have gone straight to her. And there wouldn't have been a single there. I think if you've satisfied yourself there's only been 1 boundary in the first half of the innings, save as many singles as you can. That's the way I'd go. Farrell Zia Safdar sees it slightly differently. She wants that almost insurance option of having the fielders drop back. And I'm surprised that Naomi Hillman-Bermejo didn't have more a go at that. It was a shortish ball missing leg stump. She rocked back as if she was going to give it a good dart and then kind of pushed it to the 45 fielder. So a few more dots going in. The run rate's now dropped below 4. And I think it's, with 8 wickets in hand, I think it's time that Spain started taking a few more risks. As Hillman-Bermejo comes down the pitch that time. Does take a little bit more risk, but finds that floating fielder. Deep mid off. And actually now with Uzma Saeed on the field, the deep mid on has gone back a little, but again is now some 5 or 8 yards inside the boundary.
Well, I hope my scoring's come in handy for something quite nice here. As the ball races away for 4 on the sliding of the knees of deep square leg.
Yeah, that's...
that is... I think that is Ananya down there. Number 20.
Yeah, and again, look at the replay. She's 10, 15 yards inside the line and has given herself far less chance of cutting that off. If she'd been back on the rope, she'd have had longer to get round and would have cut it off easily.
See the second boundary of the innings for Spain. So my point was going to be, where my scoring came in handy, is that in the first game that Norway played, so where they had that heavy defeat over the Isle of Man, so they had bowled 7 wides in 4.3 overs, whereas now going into the 11th over, they've only bowled 3. technically 2, one of which they ran on.
So they've bowled a wide ball twice.
Yes.
To put it another way.
They've bowled a wide ball twice. They've had 3 no balls, however. But in terms of extras, I think they've definitely vastly improved their bowling, and I think that's being shown here today, because Spain are now struggling a little bit.
Okay, well there's a challenge to that, because we've got a bowler that we haven't seen before from memory.
Ooh.
Mirab Razwan. I just want you to keep your eye on the 45 fielder on the leg side here. See what you think, Thea. Just notice something that she does consistently, and that is move while as the ball's released, she's moving squarer. I think if she's going to do that every ball, why doesn't she just field squarer?
Yeah, very true.
It's Mamour Akram there, 45 on the 1. Bowling right arm round, so 2 right-handers at the crease, so doesn't appear to be looking for LBW. Mirab.
That is really interesting, actually, because it's not just moving round to square, it's actually scurrying round to square.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Which you're allowed to do if you're anticipating the shot by the movement of the batter. But if you're doing it every ball, you surely just field squarer.
Yeah.
Just field in the position that you're scurrying to. Let's see what happens this ball. See, that's a big, well, it's actually a no ball because it's bounced twice, but that's way to the offside. The batter hasn't shaped to make a shot, but she's still scurried around square anyway. So that's something that's a little bit curious.
It'd be interesting what she does if she does go round to square and the ball's played towards 45 where she was, if she keep doing it, if it's a plan, like, not sure. Because actually Naomi's hit the ball in that direction quite a few times, just curled it round towards 45.
Mm-hmm.
But that one is going to be punished, rightfully deserved, full toss. Runs away for 4. Is it going to hit the fence? Yes, it does.
Yes. Got our first involvement of the pickets today, I think. And just give us a wave as that ball's retrieved. Shows you how close it was hit towards us. So, second boundary of the match, second boundary of the innings. And might just offer a little bit of impetus for Spain to get some momentum. They have actually already pushed the scoring rate back up close to 5 per over. This is solidly struck as well. Straight of mid-wicket. And just 1, I think possibly they could well have taken a chance on. Go for 2 there. Thought from where the ball would play they would maybe have been thinking of 2, but just a single taken.
Already 10 from it, so can they capitalise on adding more? But no, they can't.
That was an anti-climax. You built us up for something
I
there.
did.
And
I built myself up.
It was a fairly tame pushed it back down the pitch to the bowler.
I was expecting fireworks.
Does take the score to 57 for 2, 8 overs remaining. And just seen score predictor flash up for Pakistan in the World Cup final. 162 is what the computer has spat out.
It's interesting, that, isn't it? I love seeing score predictions. It's like the win predictor in the 100.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense half the time. So how can you have a win predictor in like first 5 overs of the game?
In the first innings.
Yeah.
Well, that's it's the form of the teams, isn't it?
What I also find interesting.
It's the track record of the players, form of the team. Yeah, because you have win predictors before a ball's been bowled in matches.
Yeah, true. Well, what I find really interesting in the 100 is when you're voting for your player of the match, but it's about. That's a great shot from Naomi. She hits another full toss over the head of square leg, and that runs away. Might hit the fence again. Just stops in the gym.
Let's become we haven't had a 6 yet in this tournament, so we're pleasing ourselves really with balls that hit the pickets, because that's the next best. We will see a 6, I think. It's Aisha Hassan who's come back onto bowl, and That has been called a no ball for height. It's up near, heading for the rib cage of Naomi Hillman Bermejo. So 5 runs off that ball. Well, 5 runs without a ball being bowled in this over yet. So, and of course a free hit to come up. And well, I think Naomi's played under free hit conditions more than most. So let's see what happens here. That's a solid drive to the fielder on the edge of the circle. Hina Hussain, who throws in rather aggressively after the event there, fumbles the misfield, sort of was a bit after the Lord Mayor's show there, because everyone was just waiting for the ball to come in, and she hurled it in rather aggressively to the bowler. But I think maybe as a result of picking up a slight injury, she's getting a rub down from her teammate.
Now, if I'm going to be uber critical here,
which it sounds like you're going to be.
Sounds like I'm going to be.
You kind of flagged that up.
Just a little bit. Uzwa Saeed, I want her to run that first single fast.
Yeah.
Because there's always a chance of a misfield, a fumble, and Naomi's always lucky. That's a
chance.
Excellent effort from the bowler, Hassan. It's always hard, caught and bowled. Never say there's an easy caught and bowled chance.
Yeah, as a bowler, I always felt you felt like you were finishing off your job, and then you got another job to do before you finish the previous one.
Yes, definitely.
It's a bit like another part of task turning up on your desk before you finish the previous one.
I know what that's like. So run the first one hard. You never know what can happen. I always like to say if it's an easy one, turn it into a 2. Like try and run it as if it's a 2, and if it's a 2, it's a 3. Just always run hard.
Yeah, even if it is an easy one, there's no real prospect of 2. Make it harder for the fielder by putting pressure on them.
That's exactly right.
Make them look up at the wrong moment, just as the ball's about to go into their hands. They miss the bobble because they're worried about whether you're taking a second. Make them think you're taking 2.
That's been played very well by Saeed here. So I think she's questioning the umpire if it's a no ball, but unfortunately not for her.
Above the ankle isn't a no ball, is it? I mean, she's swept off her shin, hasn't she? So, mind you, in other events we've seen them called. Yeah, that's. I heard the thud of the pad, so that's clearly the keeper's pad because wide ball has been called. We're just to put you in the picture. We're at just beyond deep extra cover here, when the bowling's from the bearer end. You haven't been into bearer yet, have you?
No, I don't think I will.
I know it's your last day on commentary, but when are you actually leaving?
Tomorrow morning. I've got to go back to work tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning? Are you going to presumably 3 a.m. so that you can inflict the 3 a.m. story on another group of people tomorrow?
Unfortunately, well, I say unfortunately. Fortunately not. I'm not up at 3 a.m. tomorrow, which is nice. So my flight is slightly later. I think it's just after 10 o'clock. But yeah, I've got to be back, drive back into work tomorrow afternoon.
So just
get
after 10 o'clock, so that's just after 9 o'clock UK time. So you'll be landing about 11:30, 11:45.
I think my flight must be towards the back end of 10 o'clock, so I think I actually land at 12:50.
So you haven't exactly got a full day's work tomorrow then?
Well, I mean, define a full day's work when you're in a boarding school. It's not a 9 to 5 job, is it?
Well,
I'll be working in the evening as well.
None of us want a 9 to 5 job.
No, not at all. Not at all. This is why I've absolutely loved this job.
Yeah. Well, it is kind of. It's not 9 to 5. This one. It's It's sort of.
It's very much not.
8:15 till about 6:45. Full on days. Yeah, we're fitting 3 days. I say fitting. We're trying to fit in 3 matches a day here at this women's T20 International ICC tournament here at Desert Springs. We've got about 10.5 hours of light per day, and we start around about an hour and a quarter after the sun comes up. Couldn't really start any earlier because of the dew. It's a challenge getting these matches in, but so you got to the expense of getting the teams here. Try to get as much cricket in as possible. That's the key. Now, I'm going to change here.
while we figure out the bowling change, just quickly.
Well, not the bowling change.
Oh, sorry, not the bowling change, sorry.
It's more a fine leg watch. Well, 45 has now gone down to fine leg.
For that one there.
So she's gone finer. When she was fielding wider, she was going wider still while the ball was approaching the batter. So it's a curiosity.
Imadi's back on.
Manur Ekram, we should try and get her on as a guest.
We should.
See if she can
we can ask her.
Take us through the scurrying. It's a good word, scurrying, actually. It describes well what she's doing. She's driven firmly into the leg side.
Oh, don't jump over the ball.
Naomi. Well, the law's changed on that, hasn't it?
If you make your ground.
Quite a while ago now, if you continue your movement.
But if
she hadn't made the crease,
if they have not made the crease before she jumped, exactly.
Yeah,
so who knows? But I just wanted to touch on that within that last over, we've had the 50 partnership brought up by these two. So that's exactly what Spain have needed after a bit of a rusty start, losing their second wicket in the third over. They were 10 for 2 at the end of the third, and now obviously going into the 14th, they are now 71 for 2. So great partnership built between these two. This is why I score.
Yeah.
You either love it or hate it.
I think you shouldn't let on that you're scoring. I think you should just make out that you've got unbelievable memory for everything that's happened in this game.
No, I don't like being deceitful to people. Honesty.
Honesty is the policy, as another wide goes down. And as we've been talking about getting these 3 matches in, I suppose we should do an early over rate check. And it looks like Norway are going to get through 14 overs in the first hour, which is neither good nor bad. It's slightly under the requirement to get through the 20 overs in the 85-minute allowance they have per innings. But
we can say it's better than the first day. I think there was 10 overs in the hour, something ridiculous like that.
Which match was that?
I think it was an early match that we had. You were definitely with me. It wasn't your game. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
It was
not on my watch.
Not on your watch.
No, I think it might have been 12. I think we might have had 12 overs in the first hour yesterday morning. Yeah.
I thought it was. Yeah, it was something low.
I haven't seen anything as drastic as 10.
Yeah, fair
enough. 12 isn't great because that extrapolates as we see it dropped. Caught and bowl again. The multitasking not quite going for Norway. Yeah, 12 overs per hour extrapolates to an hour and 40 for the 20 overs. So you're already 15 minutes behind.
We don't have that time.
And you can't make up 15 minutes between innings because you have to have 10 minutes for everyone to get ready for the pitch to be potentially rolled, repainted and things like that. So the laws of cricket don't allow you to take it down any lower than 10 minutes.
Don't watch the ball. As what?
No, not when it's gone behind you.
No.
That's the non-striker's job.
That's a lesson for all cricketers out there. You let the non-striker make that call and you run hard. You run hard to the bowler's end. Can you get back for a 2? Because my gut feeling tells me that there was definitely a potential chance.
Definitely a potential.
Definitely a potential chance. Tell me what you think about that language.
That's hedging your bets a little bit, I feel.
That's another no ball.
It's a no ball called for height again. Again, it's quite marginal. It wasn't a sort of threatening the throat or anything like that. But there's a line to be drawn, and the line is the waist, with the batter standing upright at the crease. So free hit time. So not actually quite going to get through the 14 overs in the first hour due to the extra balls in this over. And the free hit is hit past the hands of square leg and also fumbled by the fielder backing up. Allows them through in the end for a comfortable 2. That will complete the 14 overs rather. 81 for 2. Different.
You haven't been out here that long.
Different format of cricket. I'm yearning for the 50 over stuff. Get more time to interact. I mean, 50 overs. It's amazing how much more time you feel like you got between balls to discuss how the match is developing. Just things happen at that slower pace. It's more towards the chess end of cricket. I mean, who'd have thought that?
Who'd have thought that?
Who'd have thought that 25 years ago that you would be talking about 50 over cricket as the slower, more tactical,
scary
developing phases of innings. Because we've got 100 now. We've got T10 cricket, which is
you got the 60.
French the 60, yeah.
Next it will be the 30. 10.
So would they call it F5 if they shorten it by half again? Is that what it would be called?
I don't know. I think it's incredible. So many different formats to get involved in. Yep. Traditionalists must absolutely hate it.
Well, I'll describe myself as a traditionalist. I certainly don't hate it. So
that's positive. It's always positive.
I've got my favourite formats.
What would be your favourite format? I feel like you're a test man. Yeah, it's got to be a test man.
Yeah, let's not belittle a format coming in front of us. I don't think it would help. Don't think it would help these women cricketers if you put them into a 5-day match and ask them to play that. I don't think that would help their development at all. So it's horses for courses, but yeah, test match between two top nations.
Well, we're seeing more test match cricket played in the women's game as we just see a wicket as it's scooped up in the air and an easy catch by the captain, Fariel, in her very trendy sunglasses. I'm always going to comment on a sunglass.
Yeah.
It's an easy, safe catch, and that brings the end of the partnership between Saeed and Hillman. I promise I'm going to try and pronounce her surname, her Spanish surname properly.
Bermejo.
Mm-hmm. I don't have the...
That's very good.
Bermejo. I'm really trying.
You had it when you were trying to clear your throat earlier this morning.
I did. Bermejo. Sorry to any viewers out there. I'm really trying.
Let's go back to sunglasses.
Yes.
I've a rather slightly more sombre pair I'm sporting today than the orange ones. What do you think? Bit too staid, or are they?
I quite like a colourful lens.
Yeah, a colourful lens.
I do. Yeah.
What?
They're quite
over a colourful frame. Where do you like?
Yeah, I think I'd go colourful lens over colourful frame. So okay. I've got quite a few pairs of sunglasses. So I like to. This is really ridiculous of me, but I like to get a pair of sunglasses that matches the kit of the clothing.
So, well, I mean, that's quite expensive for you because you change teams quite a lot, don't you?
Yeah, I have. One nickname that was given to me was Velcro Badge. I was like, brilliant.
Velcro Badge?
Yeah, just chop and changing. But there's very good reason for why I changed teams. I mean, whether it be from opportunities to work with different people, or through you have to. So that's one or the other. You do have that. You do have those elements in your life, in your careers, where you find yourself with different teams, but actually new team, new environment, new opportunities. So never consider anything like that as a negative.
Of course. Apart from the cost of your new sunglasses. That's the only negative, isn't it? Or would you say, no, let's go the positive route. It's an opportunity to get a new pair of sunglasses.
Exactly. It is an expensive route to go down, but as the ball's chipped again, oh!
Well, how often do we see...
Oh, no!
We haven't seen it here. Well, we're going to have another look at this because Wanya Arif Malik, who's been out there for the second ball that she was out there, the ball has been chipped to mid-off. It hasn't carried.
It's dropped. It was dropped.
It was actually dropped, yeah. Sorry. And, well, she hasn't attempted a run in at any stage, and yet she's been run out at the non-striker's end. So, I mean, we can't see the crease lines from where we are. But we might say, well, we're going to see this from behind the bowler to begin with. So it's struck there. Yeah, well, did it carry?
I thought it did.
It goes to a second fielder. Well, I think the problem here is that, Wania wasn't waiting in her crease. And so when the bowler then got in her way, she moved out of the crease. And you're allowed to move out of the crease if you're worried about the ball hitting you, but not to give the bowler more room to run you out.
I know. It was very much that, wasn't it? Oh, sorry, I'm in your way. I'm just going to stand out my crease. Oh no, I'm run out. Oh dear.
Can I just say, excellent positioning there by Mark Chappell.
Yes.
Stand up for my brethren. He was in a great position to judge that. Because it was a non-run out situation really. It was a non-threatening situation for the non-striker.
Yeah, not at all.
So for Mark to have the wherewithal to be out square of the crease so that he could see everything that was happening in front of him, that's a really good bit of umpiring.
That's what we do in the Midlands. Yeah,
he's one of yours, isn't he?
He
and
is.
Can I just say,
it's happened again.
It's happened again. Fielding 10-15 yards inside the boundary. Should have been on the boundary, should have run it, should have been able to get across and cut this off. But look at the angle she's running to cut the ball from. That's why that fielding position is all wrong. Accentuate the positives though. It was a top shot. And you will notice that my colleague Thea Brooks has gone quiet, and that is because she has put the jinx on a couple of batters in this tournament so far. So I won't say any more than that, but I think she's learnt a lesson and is going to keep stum. Suffice to say that Amy Brown Carrera has come into bat, so she's on naught, and Naomi Hillman Bermejo, which actually spelt wrong on that. I've just noticed it spelt wrongly on our caption. So Amy Brown Carrera facing her first ball, gets off the mark, so she's on one, and Naomi Hillman Bermejo isn't on one. I think we'll just that's all we'll say about that.
No, I think Naomi has played a fantastic innings so far, and she's got 5 overs left. Hopefully 6 wickets in hand, she'll be able to capitalise later in the innings. Fingers crossed.
Opportunity there, but she went for it with intent. We've seen a few of those balls left over the course of this tournament, but she went for that. Didn't hit it, so was able to pick up the bonus of the wide. Just to mention also, Naomi Hillman Bermejo has now scored 84 runs in her international career without being dismissed. So once she gets an average, it'll be a good one. And she might get that one now, unfortunately. Yes, that's caught and bowled by Hina Hussain after having batted so well. And we even went to the extent of not mentioning the 50, and it didn't work. So just goes to show all that superstitious stuff is nonsense. She has now got an average of 84 in international cricket, so all credit, another very good innings from Naomi Hillman Bermejo. She's off now to get the spelling of her surname changed, so it matches the captions. And she's getting a well-deserved round of applause. Not too many spectators in today, despite the fact that the hosts are playing in the first match. It's still only just gone 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning, so can't blame the spectators for that, but I'm fairly confident they will drift in today.
I think she's had a fantastic knock. She's had a great tournament so far. Naomi Hillman Bermejo. Yes.
Yeah.
And that was without looking at a screen.
Well, I wouldn't have helped you because it's spelled wrong on the screen.
No, I think she's had a fantastic role to play today. She's carried her team through in 2 games now so far. Even so, Spain's still only on 89 for 5 going into the 16th. So I think the Spanish need to still kick on from what Naomi and Uzwa put together. But I think they had a really healthy partnership before both being dismissed.
Well, Muskan Nasib's come into bat. So we've got 2 batters that have just faced a ball each. So there's not a lot of time to rebuild, but wides help as that one gets past the fielder. Had a chance of taking 2 there. And again, I know this is one of your big topics, but if they'd run that first one harder, I really feel there was a chance of 2 there.
No, definitely. But again, and I keep going back to it, that it all comes with experience. You know, it's just, and they need to practice in training. I guess it might be something that they haven't necessarily done much in regards to running between the wickets in terms of running the first one hard. So that will be something definitely to take away from this tournament. especially on a pitch as big as this.
Norway,
There's teams everywhere.
Norway are still doing slightly better than England. England have taken a 4th wicket, but of course Norway have just taken their 5th. The 2 batters in plus the, catastrophic run out really. It's another wide. So Hina Hussain just struggling with her line. And this come back over. That's the 3rd wide ball that's been bowled. And they've cost 5 in total. And of course, now there's the added cost that she's into bowling the extra balls. She's going to have to bowl 2 overs to finish this over. So really the cost of the wides is 5 runs plus whatever results off these 2. And there's Pat on that one. And again, good backing up for the non-strikers then. I feel there's a single there.
Yeah, I think that's a single to most players that are sitting on the ring. Because if you look quite often in competitions like this, as we see, deep square just trundle in to halfway between the inner ring and the rope.
And, well, we talked about having to get through those 2 extra balls. Not only they've not cost her anything, they've also given her the bonus of a wicket. So 2 wickets in the over for Hina Hussain. And, having been 2 wickets down for so long, this Spain innings is unravelling somewhat. At the moment they're not getting very far and they're losing wickets. That's the 6th one to fall. Muskan Naseeb bowled for a duck.
4 wickets in 2 overs, where they had such a good run from overs 3 to 14, only having been 2 down.
Rabia Ahmed Iqbal is a new batter. We haven't seen her bat yet in this tournament. She'll be at the non-strikers end, as that was the end of the over. And got the captain, Fariel Zia Safdar. She's going to return to the attack.
Nothing better to see as a bowler, and I imagine you can tell me this. See stumps being knocked out the ground.
It's great. Do you know what? It's a shame because one of my things as an umpire is getting the groundsman to water the holes as much as possible, so the stump, so they don't get dry and the stumps become wobbly. I wish I'd done it more as a player. I wish I'd been more persuasive with getting the groundsman, because, of course, the other benefit is you see the stumps explode out of the holes.
They were definitely watered
even
before,
at my pace.
I did see.
Even at my pace, you could you get them going. But yeah, that's When I look back at my time playing, it's I should have been more persuasive, or I should have just watered them myself, maybe. Just say, I'll just do a favour, groundsman. So it was a great feeling on the occasions that I managed to get it up above 35 miles an hour and get the stumps coming out. Just a delay here. Mark Chappell is on the radio. I don't know what this is about. I'm pretty sure they're at the correct ends, aren't they? Yeah.
I believe so.
Maybe just checking. How many overs has Fariel Zia Safdar bowled?
1, 2. This is her 3rd.
Okay, so no issues there. I don't know what that talk was about. Do you know what I did yesterday without even realising?
Go on.
I actually commentated the entire 3rd match with you with my radio from match 2 clipped to my waist and the earpiece just hanging from my shirt. So in that instance, I could have just popped the earpiece in.
Oh,
found out
exactly
what they were talking about.
We had so many questions. What are you talking about? They're talking in your ear.
Yeah, the whole time. As I got over there to the tent where we were forced to do the post-match interview in the pavilion. Tent, but so that's a bit unfair description, tent, because it's very much a permanent structure. But obviously in the sort of marquee style. Yes. So after we'd done the post-match interview with Naomi Hillman Bermejo, I suddenly realised I still had my radio on my belt and the earpiece.
You just love it.
Just dangling from the shirt. So yeah, all those times when the discussions were going on about the light, mind you, they wouldn't have had their microphones open for that. But Yeah, I'm sure we could have got some type of insight yesterday, but again, it's another opportunity missed, a bit like the stump holes, isn't it? The watered stump
It
holes.
is. Well, had a few wides in this over by Fariel, and unfortunately, she's still got quite a bit of the over to come.
We've lost the graphics again momentarily, so how many balls have we got left in this over?
So we've got 3 now. So we've got 3 to come now.
3 to come now, so chance of Spain bringing up the 100 in this 16th over, 17th over rather. Scoreboard just let me down in the hour of need there. Had a feeling we started from this end. And what score have you got there, Thea? Because we've got a discrepancy between the scoreboard and...
I've just got it to 98.
Okay, so and 2 balls to go?
And 2 balls to go.
Yeah, so I think the scoreboard is right and the graphics just 1 behind at the moment. The scoreboard is, though, by way of compensation, the scoreboard is 1 over behind at the moment. And there's another wicket for Norway, 7 down, and, well, there's a danger of Spain being bowled out here, the amount of time the 3rd wicket partnership went on for, you wouldn't have thought there was a chance of that happening, but yeah, it's very much a possibility. One person who's standing firm is Amy Brown Carrera.
You don't want to get caught on a full toss, though.
No.
It's always so painful.
You take it as a bowler, though.
Oh, you do?
With a smirk.
Well, you know the saying.
You don't give it the Brett Lee starting up the chainsaw or anything like that. You just
what a player he was.
Just a bit of a smirk. No fist pumps, but you take it. A number of times batters play a miss or inside edge it past their leg stump. You take the rough with the smooth. That's not going to get a lot out of Mark Chappell for that one. It's clearly going down the leg side.
Just getting a lot of movement. Fariel Safdar. Just getting a lot of movement, drifting in towards the batter. So anything that's hitting the pad, it's got to be dead straight. Otherwise, it could be having the potential of going down leg.
Yeah.
Which I'm guessing that one was.
So just looking at Fariel Safdar's name, she's captain of Norway. It's a shame she didn't grow up in Italy. Zia is the Italian for aunt. It'd be a lovely name to have, wouldn't it? To have a second name, aunt.
It's interesting because our scoreboard here has now gone down a run. However, I have it as 98 is what it was. So that's going to be interesting.
Well, they're both the wrong side of 100 at the moment, and the way that Spain were batting earlier, they'll be... there have been times in their innings when they'd have been happy with this score, and the times when they've been expecting for a lot more. So I suppose on the balance of things, they'll be happy. They should get to 100. Famous last words. But we've got Hina Hussain bowling her 3rd spell, to the best of my recollection.
4th over, yeah.
So it's 3rd spell, 4th and last over. As ever, enthusiastic. We don't get the best view of her here from 45 on the boundary, but I'm going to get you to look at her bowling action from behind and tell me ways that she could improve on this. So we have to be careful watching the monitor because it is about half a second behind, so we can miss the key action. As we've got a full toss, a no ball full toss has been hit away for 4. That does bring the 100 up, and we're on screen.
Hi.
That's us. That's our commentary booth to slightly glamorise it. Well, not slightly, significantly glamorise it.
Fantastic.
That's our commentary suite. Let's make it sound even more grandiose.
Sweet.
Okay, we've got a free hit coming up because that was an illegal full toss. No ball, so 5 runs off that ball.
Well, going back to her action.
Yeah.
So if we look at her, I've noticed straight away her front left leg. So as she lands, it's very open. So actually, her momentum shifts from running straight to actually going towards the left-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
So she's very chest on as she bowls,
yeah.
which she loses a lot of pace, a lot of power. So that was number 1 that I saw.
No damage off the free hit, by the way. Dot ball, so well done there. But yeah, it's she's very yeah. The momentum is actually just in her approach. The momentum is going towards cover.
Yes.
When rather just to make something to state the plainly obvious, you want as much momentum going towards the batter as you can, because anything that's going towards cover is throwing the energy in the wrong direction. So that's something that he and Hussein could work on.
Well, similar to her captain, Faril Safdar. So they don't actually have too much of a jump and gather. They kind of run straight through.
Yep.
Which also eliminates any power or momentum going towards the crease. So you'll see a lot of bowlers, their stride and their gather is so big, because they just have so much power and takeoff going towards the batter. And as soon as they land, that front left leg's braced, so they have a bit of a sling. They're able to get all power through the bowl.
Yeah, you'll hear some coaches saying, you don't need a takeoff and a gather.
Oh, good.
Contradicting
everything that I've just said.
But they've often come from. I've often heard that said by coaches who didn't have a takeoff and a gather when they played. So I don't believe that. I think that if you don't have a takeoff and a gather, any success you have is in spite of your action and not because of it. So I don't think that's it's a blueprint that can work for everyone. I think that in general, you need that take up and gather. It's a load up, isn't it?
Yes.
You've got to load up what's going to happen next, and it doesn't matter. I've had players, young players, say, "Well, I don't need it. I'm a spinner." Well, even if you're a spinner, you've got to get energy through that delivery stride. It doesn't matter that you're not trying to. The fact that you're not trying to knock the batsman's head off doesn't matter. Energy through the delivery stride is, and heading in the right direction is paramount. Sorry, rather. Another change in bowling. We've got our mononym player of the tournament, Lopamudra. You will see on your screen she's down as L Lopamudra, but her name is just, as I understand it, simply Lopamudra. She's having a little practice. She's already bowled 1 ball, but she's had a little practice bowl there after 1 ball. Very, very short run up. Starts level with umpire Mark Chappell. And, well, I tell you what, we were watching from deep extra cover there, and I thought that had some merit, but we're obviously in a hopeless, not quite as bad as cover point on the boundary, but not in a great position to judge that one ourselves, and no doubt Mark made the right decision. That's rather better contact on that one, actually. I thought when that left the bat that might speed away, but held up nicely on the outfield. Good bounce for the fielder. It's Aisha Hassan.
It's a good pickup.
Full toss. Not taken full advantage of, but after some very sketchy overs, just some momentum coming back into the Spain innings as they approach the end. Just 8 balls remaining now. They would absolutely love to get up to 120 if they possibly could.
That'll definitely be their target, because they'll have noticed that Norway, having had 2 innings of 36 and 46, that they're still yet to achieve the 3 figures.
Yeah, let's not lose sight of that. Norway are going to have to break down some massive barriers to get this.
Oh, of course, absolutely.
Lopamudra not giving the batters anything in terms of pace, and that one, well, that's been called no ball for height. It's a loopy full toss. It was heading to earth quickly, but it's been called for being above waist height at the popping crease. Oh, yeah, and Mark Chappell just stepping in there because of captain just attempting to, or the bowler attempting to change the field for the free hit. Can't do that, of course. And we've got an appeal for the free hit, which is always a bit of fun. Just taking some pad. I had a massive appeal on the free hit yesterday. Don't know if you remember that one.
I probably did. There were a few good appeals.
But just to put you in the picture, it was a free hit, and
yes, I commented on it. Yes,
it was a free hit, and it was a seam bowler which was slanting down to miss the leg stump anyway, and then the batter got a massive inside edge onto the pad, which would have sent it even further down leg side. Then there was a big appeal for LBW. So
it's brilliant.
I think my unorthodox response was not out for so many reasons.
Had a little giggle.
But yeah, it was a good bit of a lung exercise on the free hit yesterday. We just had a lone appeal for that one off the previous last ball of the previous over. So it is last over time. Amy Brown Carrera is on strike. Both batters on 5 off 11 balls, and the Spain squad will want to see those individual strike rates improving significantly in this over if they're to get up to that. Well, I don't know about this. This is the last over, and they've just turned down a fairly long single in my estimation. Change of ends for the captain. She's, I believe, she bowled her 4 overs in 4 spells today. Thea?
She has.
Yeah.
She has indeed.
Change of ends. She's coming in from the Crocodile Club end. And so far, this over's a bit of a disaster for Spain. It's had 3 dot balls to begin the last over of their innings. So they'll want this to be an over of 2 halves. And that's a good start to the second half. Well, it's got past the fielder. It was always going to be at least 1, perhaps 2 with a misfield, but in the end, nothing on that ball at all as it gets away to the boundary. Well, we haven't got the best team sheets here today, but I thought that that was the sub-fielder, but it seems that Ananya Rautela is in the 11, despite the hieroglyphics that we've got on the team sheet in front of us. It's like one of those puzzle books where you have to follow the lines through to see, where the treasure was. Kids. Well, down on one knee there, which gave the impression that was over waist height, but of course, waist height is judged on the position of the striker standing up, and Amy Brown Carrera she's a tall girl.
She is.
So
she strikes it powerfully. She's on strike for the last ball of the game. Can she hit the rope?
Well, we want to see a maximum, don't we?
We'd love to see a maximum.
Not that we're showing any bias, of course. Just see a maximum. That is well hit. Another challenge out there for Ananya. And they've gone quite rightly. They've taken the chance with the second. Might have even been tempted to think about a third there, but 2 runs is the result. So 115, according to the graphics, is the final score. And what have you got?
I've got 116.
So still that 1 run difference.
Still that 1 run difference.
Okay.
So, I mean, they'll probably go by the scorers, but I've got it as 116.
I just want to say that I don't think we've mentioned this on air, but the head groundsman here at Desert Springs, Callum Bristow, he's a little bit poorly at the moment and hasn't been able to come to work. Has actually been signed off. But Peter Scott, who's the cricket manager here at Desert Springs, has stepped in magnificently. The graphics are covering up, but he is almost it felt like that ball was still in play. He was on with the buggy to sweep the pitch, remark the lines, and he's been doing a lot more than that. Obviously, these are the things that we see most obviously. We have got special dispensation in this tournament to reduce the time between innings down from the standard 20 minutes. In fact, in this match, we went 4 overs, 4 minutes over in that innings, so it would have been reduced to 16 minutes anyway. Suspect we won't get that long because there is that time pressure with the light today. Give you an update from the World Cup final. Well, I'm sure if you wanted to be watching it, you'd be doing so anyway. But another wicket has fallen in Melbourne. There are a few heads down. It's another catch by Ben Stokes. And that's the 6th wicket down, Shadab Khan for Pakistan. And the score now 123 for 6. As Channel 4, our partners at Channel 4, have gone for an inevitable ad break, just as we were about to bring the score up for you. We'll find other means to bring that to you. And we'll bring you an update on that when we get back for the second innings. But just to recap on the bowling effort from Norway, wickets shared around. There were a couple of run-outs, one of which notably so. 2 wickets to the captain, Farial Zia Safdar, and identical figures for Hina Sain, her opening partner, and a wicket also for Pooja Kumari, who bowled very economically, didn't allow any pace for the batters to hit. She finished with 1 for 17, and Lopamudra, she bowled 1 over 4, so small sample size, but she had the best economy rate. Just a couple of bowlers, Aisha Hassan and Mirab Razwan, getting just into double figures in terms of economy rate. So good all-round bowling performance. Norway will be happy with that. They continue to improve in this tournament. They've restricted Spain to 115 for 7. They're going to come out to bat knowing that they've achieved 2 scores, all-out scores below 50 in this tournament so far. So they are going to have to more than double their best effort yet if they're going to get over the line this one. We will bring you coverage shortly of how that goes. See you then. turnaround in these games. The view to getting these 3 games in is a challenge here at Desert Springs. But welcome back to the coverage as Norway start their reply. And we've got 2 batters at one end at the moment. And I think a little bit of solidarity being shown. Yes, actually there was a single taken off that 4th ball, so 3 for no loss as Norway get underway. And well, I know the target is 116, as we know, but I think Norway's first target will be 47, as we've been tracking their progress. On 36 and 46, this one is chopped up in the air.
Oh.
And that's, well...
That's not going to do the ball any good, that's for sure.
And I do know, well, I've been involved in some cricket very recently where that's a disciplinary matter, spiking of the ball. But as we are aware, these guys are learning all the time. Important thing is, first wicket for Spain, caught and bowled, as that was just chipped rather meekly up in the air. Back to Uzwa Saeed, who's already had her big part to play in this match.
Fantastic innings with the bat as a partnership with Naomi Hillman Bermejo.
Yeah, lovely. Lovely. It's a shame you're leaving tomorrow, isn't it? Really?
I know. I wish I wasn't, but unfortunately I have a job I need to get back to. They've been incredible letting me come out here. And
oh, have you just found out they're listening or something?
No, not at all. Not at all. They'll be watching the World Cup. No, they have been outstanding.
We feel that we may have lost a little bit of our audience to the World Cup this morning, but there are 2 more matches. Unlike them, they've only got 1 match to show people today. We've got 3. That is the end of the first over. 3 for 1 off the bowling of Uswa Saeed.
I never got a chance to speak to the scorers to see where I went wrong. I might do that later.
It's very modest of you to suggest that you're the one that went wrong.
Yeah, well, I don't want to say I'm right. Even
just
though I think
case.
I am.
Just in case, you know.
I think I'm right. But yeah, just in case. So I did get it wrong earlier in the innings, but then I kept up to date, so we'll see.
Okay, it's Amy Brown Carrera to open the bowling from the crocodile end. That's very nicely guided behind square, the offside. That was a real deft touch there from Aisha Hassan. There's a few players in this Norway side doing the heavy lifting. Aisha Hassan did her share of the bowling. And she's also opened the batting here. Now being joined by Kumari Puja. And that's a wide. The additional run taken.
I think that'll be the key in this game, the extras for the second innings. They need to apply as much pressure onto Norway as possible, the Spanish, if they want to get their second international win.
Well, up 2-2 of this tournament. Of course, their match on the first day was abandoned, although dispensation has been given to replace the third and fourth playoffs. This is cut through. Cover point for a boundary. Lovely reaction from the teammates there. This is already looking much better, isn't it, from Norway? They have lost that rather tame wicket in the first over, but forcing it through. Already had 7 runs off just 2 legal balls in this over. It's Aisha Hassan who forces that away. Makes the most of the loose ball from Amy Brown Carrera. Behind us, just noticed some of the Italy players heading down to the nets. Good net facilities here at Desert Springs. Unusual, as there's a bye there. Unusual net facilities here, and they're not visible from the ground. Not visible from the main playing area.
It's like they just walk off into the distance, isn't it?
Yep, well, it is a desert here, and it's like,
hence the name.
We'll see if we can get it on the coverage for you, but it's very much an oasis, this ground. It's a great big green circle in the middle of some pretty dry land surrounding. There's some of the resort accommodation that drifts away from one side of the ground towards the Crocodile Club, but pretty much on all the other sides you've got the golf course on one side, and then all the other directions are a pretty dry land, and the players look as if they're driving their big coffins over some scrubland into the distance. I mean, the first time I came here and I thought, where are they going? But just over the way there are some nets, and we will try and see if we can get them on the coverage for you from my display. In fact, what I'm going to do at the end of the over is I'm going to leave you to go fly solo for an over or so I can get that sorted out.
No problem.
Once again, it's a great second half of an over. Amy Brown Carrera, 8 runs came off the first half and just 1 run off the second half. So well retrieved by her. I will leave you in the capable hands of Thea Brooks, multitasker extraordinaire.
We say.
Picture of the net facility here.
No, that'd be fantastic. And news from Australia. So England need 138 to win the World Cup. This is exciting. So if I get a little bit excitable, then I'm not going to apologise. I'm excited already. There's a lot of good cricket being played, as a ball's just been lofted up and placed into the leg side for no run.
Just going to say before I go, Thea,
yes,
that's a good chunk short of the one projected score that we read out, which was in the 160s. So you've done well to get that back. But anyway, that's a match that's happening elsewhere.
So Norway have had a lovely start at the moment, so 12 for 1 off their 2.2, and they'll like to capitalise on all of these flighted deliveries from Uzma Saeed, but she started very, very strongly with 3 dot balls. I'm going to try and keep scoring whilst on commentary. Apparently we're meant to be very good at multitasking. I may be an exception. As the ball comes in and is hit towards the leg side, but really good stop on the knees, and the ball is thrown into the keeper's end just for the single. So Hassan and Kamari in at the crease, going well so far. We'll look to keep rotating the strike. One thing that Spain did really well towards the start of their innings, and then a little bit later dried up in the middle overs. But a big appeal, not from keeper or bowler, but a couple of fielders in the middle. Big shout, big appeal. I think there's a bit of excitement out there as soon as the ball hits the pads. It's a big day for both teams. Norway will be looking to pass their 46 that they got yesterday as their highest score in the tournament. It's always different milestones here that teams are looking for, not just the win. Then Spain will be looking to win their second international game, and as they did yesterday, beating the Isle of Man in a really, really thrilling game, actually, I believe it was, until the darkness thrust upon us and they had to come off.
What, the pop group?
The darkness. Do you believe in a thing called love?
I do.
Good.
I can't hear that song without thinking of Colin Firth and Hugh Grant fighting in that fountain in Bridget Jones.
I've never seen Bridget Jones.
No.
Can you believe it? I can't.
Even your accent is made for saying the 2 words Bridget Jones. Just sounds fantastic with your accent.
Does it?
She's not from that part of the world,
Bridget
Bridget Jones. But anyway, I'm back, as you may have noticed.
He's back.
I've got news. We might not just be able to get a perspective from the ground of the nets here, but Jaime, who's our trusty roving cameraman, he might be actually heading down there as we speak, so we can not just get the overview, we could even get a bit of a close-up of what the nets look like from actually being there. So don't want to promise too much, don't want to over-promise and under-deliver, but we'll see what's possible in the coming overs. Meanwhile, Norway continue to progress steadily not excessively dominating this chase, but they're ticking along. They only lost 1 wicket, and they continue their improvement seemingly. And the sun's coming out.
It's trying to pierce its way through, isn't it? It's nice though. I feel like the right side of my body's going to get partial tan.
Do you mean the correct side when you say that, or actually physically the right side?
Physically the right side.
Yeah, that's where it is at the moment. We get an all-round tan here with the low sun. Is it this time of year? As that is pulled away to the square leg boundary for another boundary. Things are looking up.
Things are definitely looking up.
Kumari Pooja striking that one away powerfully.
As the score moves to 18. And I'm just going to read out another stat, just because I love a stat. So when Norway played the Isle of Man, who Spain beat yesterday, so they hit their 19th run, and guess what over? Considering we have just in the 4th.
I'm going to go the 10th over.
Oh, close. So it was the 9th over.
Okay.
But it was the end of the 9th over, so very close.
Okay. Yep. So again, progress. And how many wickets had they lost at that stage? I think it was 6, wasn't it?
So I think they were 12 for 6, weren't they?
Yeah, they were 6 down very quickly, and then they had a decent 7th wicket partnership.
They were 12 for 6 in the 6th over. And then they had a good 6th wicket partnership. And then lost the 7th in the 12th.
Now I'm going to ask you to. I know you're scoring, but we've received some more Spain player profiles.
Ooh.
So I think during this fielding innings, as so the second time we've seen the host club or the host nation play, I'm going to get those player profiles up and give you some tidbits.
Amazing, I can't wait. So 1 ball to come in this over from Amy Brown Carrera. I need to practice rolling my R's. Carrera.
I've been practicing since I was 25 and I haven't got it yet.
Another ball has been edged, I'll say, down towards fine leg, but it's fielded in and then thrown just for the single. Thought there would have been a bit more intent from the batters here. Bit of a top edge down towards fine leg boundary where we are, which brings the end of the over with a single. 8 coming from it, which takes the score, I believe, to 21 for 1 after the 4th over. So going at a really nice steady pace, the Norwegians at the moment. They'll be very happy with this start, I imagine so. Creeping in already on their highest score. Already halfway. Almost halfway there. With Saeed continuing. And starts off with a dot ball. Pooja Kumari on strike. Not going particularly quickly for her at the moment. I mean 7 off 15. As she gently defends it back to the bowler. And England are about to get underway in the World Cup in Australia. 138 to win. Come on, the boys. So that's 3 dots to the start of Uzwa Saeed's over for her 3rd over. She's bowled superbly, 4 for 1. The ball is punched slightly harder this time, but still into the hands of cover. So no run. It's a good 5th over. Slow the run rate down. As that ball was cut towards a point just backward of point. They scamper through for a single, taking the score to 22 for 1. With 1 ball left in this over, here it is, and it is called a wide. First wide, first extra bowled for Uzwa Saeed. She's had a really tidy 3 overs of yet. So hopefully she'll see out her 3rd over comfortably with something minimal, whether it be a dot. No extra ball is the ideal, as it's flighted down beautifully and just pushed towards cover for a dot ball. 2 coming from it, which takes the score to 23 for 1. It's a good day for cricket.
It is a good day for cricket. It's a good day. It's a good day to be a cricket lover.
It is. So much going on.
But you know, I think in now that we've had 2020 World Cups in consecutive years. I know that was because of the pandemic. Actually, I'm actually sort of. It's quite strange to say this, but this World Cup final that's taking place today in Melbourne, the qualifying process started in 2018, at the beginning of 2018. So it's taken 4.5 years to get to this point, from the very first qualifying match to the final. And I'm proud to say that I actually umpired the first qualifying match back in March 2018, which was played at the Hurlingham Club in Argentina.
Wow.
So this process is finishing today with the 2 umpires on the field there. I was there at the start of the whole thing. But as an aside, because of the pandemic, we've had World Cups in consecutive years, it kind of makes them slightly less memorable. And you and I might not remember this final. I mean, if England win it, we'll definitely remember it.
Yeah.
But we'll remember that we didn't really watch it because we were watching what's happening out there in the middle. But it's still great that England are in the final. They're in the final, I believe, for the 3rd time. They won it the first time of asking in 2010. And then, of course, in 2016, I believe it was, there was our dear colleague Ian Bishop. Remember the name. Bit of commentary that will go down in history. He can't stand listening to it again, apparently.
Brilliant.
But remember the name, Carlos Brathwaite. And he struck Ben Stokes for 4 sixes or 4 balls in the last over. They started last over needing 19 to win, and they barely needed the 4th ball.
It's painful.
The scores were already level. So I mean, is it every 6 years that England get to a final? Have I got that right? Have I got my years right? It's definitely 2010 that England won it.
Wow, it seems so long ago.
Yeah. Well, you think about Paul Collins was captain, Michael Lum was playing, Craig Keyswetter.
Wow.
These are players we haven't seen for a while.
I did my level 3 with Michael Lum cricket course.
Did you?
I did.
Well, I've got. I remember meeting Michael Lum because I knew his cousins, Becky Lum and I can't remember, their dad was chairman of Smethwick Cricket Club.
Wow.
And their father was brother of Richard Lum, who for years opened the batting with Jeff Boycott at Yorkshire.
Lovely.
In the latter part of Jeff Boycott's career. So so I know that Michael Lum's got Smethwick connections through his uncle. Have you played at Smethwick?
I think I might have done. I feel like I should have done if I haven't.
And wickets fallen in that World Cup final. Alex Hales, who's had a tremendous comeback to the team, called back after Owen Morgan retired. 2 events not necessarily related, but I suppose he was due a failure, and he's managed to get out for 1 in the final.
So he came in for
4 more runs this time.
To
deep mid wicket, and that's Aisha Hassan who struck that one away.
Came in for Bairstow, didn't he? When he did his golf course incident.
His freak golfing injury, to paraphrase Blackadder.
It's amazing, that freak golfing injury.
Yes. Yes, it's strange that someone who's in such good form can miss so much cricket through a freak golfing injury. slipped off the side of a tee box, didn't he, or something like that? Be still your beating heart.
I know, I need to calm down.
Tia has just got rather concerned about Josh Butler. I think she thought that Josh Butler was out, but it was a replay of Alex Hales' dismissal. Is that what you were watching?
No, I thought someone else was snicked off.
Right.
Anyway, sorry.
Got a lot of Josh Butler fans here at this tournament.
Oh, he is just an unbelievable cricketer.
I think he's a bit of a housewife's favourite as well.
Oh, he must be.
We have got a few housewives playing in this tournament.
We do.
Which is lovely to see. Quite a few of the players, which is great for development, also haven't quite reached the age of housewife status, but yeah.
Or they have and they're just not.
So it's not all about youth here.
Didn't mean just me. I need to have some of this.
There's a bit of meaning in there's a bit of feeling in your expression when you said that.
Was there? Good finish for Saeed. That's her 4 done. That's her spell over.
Yeah, she's bowled very steadily.
She has 1 extra in hers. 5 coming from it. Moves the score 28 for 1. They're going well. They are going well, Norway. I think they do need to pick it up.
Picking up, the wind is picking up. You can see from the flags over the far side of the ground that the customary wind, which actually for much parts of the season is actually very welcome when you're out in the middle, just keeping the body temperature down. This now, autumn has definitely arrived. Can be a little bit uncomfortable in the middle. Certainly quite tiring, the wind here.
Yeah. I mean, I came to Spain expecting, sunshine, tanning, and I haven't taken my jacket off.
Well, you say that. You weren't even in shirt sleeves yesterday. The memory is short.
That's true. Well,
you had the shoulders out yesterday.
But I was putting my jacket on and off. It was chilly. Towards the end of the day, it got very cold. Temperature dropped significantly last night. That's what happens when the sun goes down, I guess.
Not always. Not in some places I've been. Some places you can't wait for. It takes forever. I remember my first season in Argentina when I didn't have air conditioning at my accommodation, and it was the hottest January for 53 years or something like that. I remember quite regularly having to stay up until 4 a.m. because it took that long for the temperature to drop to be able to sort of sleep comfortably. And of course by 8 o'clock it was climbing up again when the sun came up. That's it's like floaty full toss from Naomi Hillman Bermejo. She wants the ball. She's not shy of demanding her stuff there. The ball was cleanly fielded, and it seemed like 3 fielders were having a chat, and
then rolled back in.
Naomi was insisting that the ball came straight back in, and quite rightly so. Aisha Hassan on strike.
It's going to be a big innings for Phil Salt for England. First innings, he obviously didn't get a bat in the semi-final as he came in as David Malan's replacement. But he started his World Cup with a boundary, which is ideal. It takes England 21 for 1 off the 2 overs.
Now, the last time I saw Phil Salt, he did remember this bit of trivia very clearly. Phil Salt used to be my assistant coach.
Oh wow!
At Guildford Cricket Club.
Guildford?
Yeah.
I've played at Guildford as well.
Have you played at Guildford? It's a nice ground, Guildford.
I feel like I've.
Was it before they replaced the pavilion? Was it the old pavilion or the new pavilion?
I imagine it was a new pavilion because it was this year.
Oh right, okay. It's as recently as this year. Okay.
Yeah.
And who are you playing for then?
I was playing for Central Sparks then. In the regional setup.
Yep. Surrey actually paid for a new pavilion to be built in exchange for using the ground for second 11 and other cricket more extensively. It's a functional modern pavilion. Let's accentuate the positives. It's ideal. Big changing rooms. Very clean. Just flip side, I miss the old bar. It had some real atmosphere. Nice old bar today. It's a function room really.
The left arm spin now for Spain with Chilongia coming into the attack, replacing Uzwa Saeed. A bit more spin, turning the ball away from the bat, and she's got a wicket. She's bowled Pooja Kumari for 10. It's a great start for the young left arm spinner. And a much needed wicket for Spain, as Kumari's tried to swing across the line of the ball there and misses in and goes on to hit middle and off stump. A great start for the young spinner with number 1 on her back.
Meanwhile, Pakistan have reviewed an LBW and it's come off a full toss, so it's a bit cheeky. First impressions are that it's hit Phil Salt outside the line of leg stump, but he's been hit on the back thigh by a full toss. So just as the new batter comes in here at Desert Springs, we'll just let you know what's going on there. Looks like no impact on the bat. What do you think, Thea? Struck him outside the line of leg stump?
From that little glimpse that I just got, I think I agree. There's not enough for... I'm guessing umpire gave it not out, did he?
Yeah, because it's Pakistan that reviewed.
And they reviewed it. Yeah, I'd stay with not out. I don't think there's enough for the ball.
They haven't returned to their fielding position, so they must be optimistic, the Pakistan side.
Yeah, umpire's call. So there's not enough.
Well, I wouldn't have even thought it was umpire's call. I thought they were just outside leg, wasn't it?
Really enjoying Norway's running between the wickets here. I think it's a lot more intent shown to score runs. Yes, as I'm looking at my little score sheet, there's quite a lot of dot balls. Dot balls gone down. However, saying that, looking at the positives, there's a lot more singles been taken and significantly more boundaries, which is even better. So that is something that the Norwegians can definitely take away, and they should be incredibly happy with the performance that they're putting in. They've already reached their first innings total when they played Italy of 36, and there's still a lot more cricket here to be played, with only being 2 wickets down and still in the first half of their innings. So they're taking it to the Spaniards. Spanish didn't seem right. We got any profiles coming up? As saying that, the ball has just been pulled through mid-wicket and chased down again, stopped with a foot. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I mean, I don't feel great about it. But stopped with a foot and stopped nonetheless. So saved a couple of runs out in the deep.
I've been on Trivia Hunt, and I'm just looking at Amy Brown Carrera's profile. Her favourite player, as I would say, if we're going to go slightly tenuous, her favourite player has got family connections to both you and me. Not that we are connected in a family. As far as I know. As far as I know. You never know with distant relatives and things like that. But
I'm interested.
Okay, so this player went to the same school as my dad, and he's got nearly the same surname as you.
I feel like it's a Brooke.
Yeah.
Harry Brooke.
Yep. That's it.
What a boy.
So it wasn't that tenuous, was it?
No, it wasn't. I just thought, who is this?
What do you think? What could connect someone to both our families?
What school was your father at, and what was Harry?
He was at Sedbergh. Do you know what? I should know.
I knew he was at Sedbergh.
Yeah. I'm always reluctant to pronounce the GH. I think it is Sedberg, isn't it?
Yes.
Not Sedberg.
No, Sedberg.
Sedberg School. So it's interesting. Of course, Amy does live in Yorkshire. So she lives in Yorkshire. She's based in Yorkshire, does spend a lot of time in Spain. Spanish mother, who I'm hoping to get on commentary with me tomorrow. And for those of you who don't have English as well, maybe who have Spanish as a first language, don't have English as a first language, going to be bringing hoping to have Amy's mother with me on commentary at some point tomorrow to stand in for you, because you'll be heading back to work, and it's likely that we'll do that time on commentary in Spanish. So if you've been enjoying the cricket but you struggle a little bit with English and have Spanish as first language, please do tune in tomorrow. We're hoping to bring you a little bit of commentary in Spanish.
I wish I could have helped.
Why not? No se puede tener todo en la vida.
Sí.
Diosa.
Sí, señor.
So
if in doubt, yes.
I just called you Diosa, by the way, which is a female version of God, because obviously
thank you.
your surname, your first name in Greek means goddess.
It does.
Yeah.
My parents were thinking, oh well.
They were setting their sights high, weren't they?
Goddess.
No pressure.
No, it was definitely. My parents identified my name on the end of a TV credits on a TV show, and thought, yeah, that'll do.
Without knowing what it meant?
Oh, I doubt they did.
Okay. Well, my name means manly, so that was.
We've got manly goddess.
That was setting their sights quite high, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, I never.
No pressure there.
I never told you this actually. Going a little bit digressing from what our names mean, but I spoke to the ladies from the Isle of Man earlier, and they said, "Did you know that your two costumes, your clothing attires, they match today? Me and you in the commentary box. So we've both got a former khaki and a former black on, so we match."
Purely coincidentally, I can assure you.
I actually went back and changed, so maybe it was my fault.
Oh, you did go back and change, didn't you?
Well, I had.
You obviously subconsciously liked my look at breakfast.
Clearly, I did. I didn't even know.
Didn't even realise what you were doing. Well, that's going to be good. The end of day summary today, then that should be quite good. That will be colour coded.
Well, I just
hope it's warm enough for me to have my jacket off, because you haven't got a bright red jacket like I have.
No. But yeah, that was noted by the girls, and then I thought.
Did you say Isle of Man?
Yeah.
It didn't say anything to me. Maybe they thought I'd be completely uninterested as a man.
It was actually Lucy Barnett, not Burnett. I keep saying it. Yes. Lucy Barnett, who noticed and told me. I thought, cheers, Luce.
There was you thinking she was shy.
I know, yeah. Excuse me, but did you know that your clothing matches? I was like, oh Lord. Of course it does.
It's not a bad thing though, is it?
No, of course not.
Or
no.
is it bad when it's between women? But it's like,
I think we look quite good.
When you turn up and there was that cliche, turning up a party and someone you know who you don't particularly like is wearing the same thing as you. Happens all the time at McDonald's apparently when the staff turn up.
What, when they wear the same uniform?
Yeah.
See, it's those kind of shots that I just fear are a bit of a nothing shot. So that's what I want the girls to throw the hands out a little bit more to it, and actually look like they want to score. And that's what I mean by those kind of shots where it is a nothing shot in terms of, even if you do get a bat on it, you're probably not even going to score a single. But going back to our Norway batswomen, Hassan is on a steady 20 of 23. She needs someone else there just to keep ticking it along with her.
I want to fill you in on Pael Chalungia,
Oh, go on.
if I could.
Please do.
She doesn't look anywhere near old enough to have been doing her bachelor's degree in physical education in 2008.
I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Um,
I thought I'd misread it. I had to read it 3 times to check I was reading it. She said, I started playing cricket in 2008 professionally. This is a self-written profile. Started playing cricket in 2008 professionally at the time of my bachelor's degree in physical education.
wow.
So 14 years ago, she was, I don't know whether she was at the beginning or the end of her bachelor degree, but
That's incredible.
that means that we've seen Pael. She's a bit of a live wire around the resort, isn't she?
Well, we'll have something to talk about.
Yeah.
Doing a degree in PE, as did I. It'd be nice to talk to her about that, especially as a spinner as well. We can share some insight on spinning.
Now, you're.
Go on.
I'm not bad at names, but I think I might have potentially mixed up two women players here.
It happens.
Pael has got 2 heroes, 2 cricket heroes, 1 male, 1 female. First, the male one's pretty obvious. She's from India originally. Someone, judging by the time of her bachelor's degree, I would say is a very similar age to her.
I mean,
early 30s.
I don't particularly know in terms of.
The king.
I was going to say Kohli. Surely
Yeah.
it had to be Kohli.
Okay.
Is he early 30s?
Yeah, he might even be nudging into mid-30s by now,
I
mightn't
was
he?
going to say.
Virat Kohli.
I hope so.
No, I don't think he's. If he is
Well,
mid-30s,
he can't. Well,
then
yeah, he
just,
can't
I
be.
reckon.
I was going to say he can't be too much older than that if he's still playing as highly as he is.
Age is just a number. So yeah, don't forget that. No, I'd think Virat Kohli would be at the most 34, wouldn't he?
Yeah, actually, that's
Yeah.
probably a very good shout. Very good player,
Yep.
as we know.
And the female player, I think, if it's the player I think I am, I think I only know one thing about her, unfortunately,
Oh, let's see.
and that's
See if I can get it.
Deepti Sharma.
Oh. So
Is it
I was
who
going to guess.
Is it who I think it is?
Well,
Or am I thinking of
I
a
don't
different
know.
Deepti?
Well, that is Deepti Sharma.
I'm thinking of Charlie Dean at Lord's a couple of months ago.
Yeah, that is Deepti Sharma.
Okay, all right. So I'm just checking that we've got the same player. Unfortunately, I don't work a lot outside commentary with women's cricket as much as I do. I mean, I do coach mixed cricket, but my work doesn't allow me to watch a lot of international cricket. Full stop, actually.
Did you see that?
But well, I didn't see it live, but being a qualified umpire as I am, it's been put out there a lot of fora and a lot of umpires giving their opinion, which I don't think is the umpire's opinion isn't really relevant. I think the law is there. The law is there to deal with it, and I think there's a bit too much talk about it.
I'll
And,
tell you.
of course, for those who have lost the train of the conversation, we're talking about Charlie Dean having been run out at Lord's to finish her one-day international a couple of months ago, backing up too much at the non-strikers end, which almost forensic research has actually, it's come to light that Charlie Dean backed up too far 73 times in the same innings. So it's not the way that, cricket being a spectator sport, it's not the way you want to see a game end. But however, I think we've got to the stage where we would, I think we would like non-strikers to stay in their crease until they're supposed to leave, or just accept the risk that they're taking.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I mean, there's a lot of different opinions floating out there, but I am going to say, might be a bit controversial, but the fact that happened, obviously not an ideal way to finish a game, as rightfully said. However, that moment put that game everywhere, and everyone was talking about it. So in my eyes, everybody was talking about women's cricket and England women and India women and the players involved. And I just feel like if something like that hadn't have happened, and so, I mean, I obviously I can't say this it definitely wouldn't have done, but it put women's cricket on the map. Maybe not in a great light, but people were talking about it.
Yeah.
Everyone was commenting on it. The England boys, different international players. Yes, everyone has their opinion, but people were talking. So actually, you know,
I'll put that in context. I was aware that England were playing a one-day international series against India in England at the time. If that hadn't happened, I probably wouldn't have been aware that they'd played at Lord's that day, because that's where it happened. So I might have imagined that they were playing at Worcester, at Taunton, or without looking into it in great depth. But what that run out meant was, okay, actually they were playing at Lord's. That's really good, because you only really associate England women playing at Lord's with maybe a World Cup final, or at least a triangular final. Or
they need to play there more often.
Yeah.
To be honest, with the quality of cricket that's being played, I think get them on the home of cricket. Definitely need to be there. And it was disappointing to know that the last time that they played at Lord's was the 2017 World Cup final.
Right.
And we're in 2022 now. It was a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah, one day international. Sorry, that's the last time they played any format of cricket, was it?
Any format of cricket. Was the 2017 World Cup final, where they obviously beat India.
Yeah.
And then met again 2022 in a bit of a controversial match, but still they met. It's always such a good game.
That will be
huge.
That was at shoulder height, full toss, correctly called. So we've got free hit coming up.
We do.
And meanwhile, the 50 is up for Norway.
Oh, they've surpassed their
yeah, they've gone past
in the high score, which is amazing.
Well, if we get straight line graph, 56 is the next target for them, because they've gone 36-46.
We thought you were going to take off yesterday, by the way, when you were umpiring, because you signalled a free hit no ball, and then I think there were 3 wides bowled after it. So you kept doing your little helicopter signal. We thought you were going to go up.
Oh, lovely, yeah. I love those moments. I just had a reminder been reminded by an act of absolute promptness. Of course, we're going to look to broadcast our first in-play toss today, because this was mentioned in the last match yesterday. It didn't quite go to plan during the second match yesterday. Of course, yesterday the first match finished so early that we were able to take the toss out in the middle. With these matches being back-to-back and very little time between them, we can't do the toss in the middle. And of course, we've both got broadcasting duties, so we are going to do a roving toss today that should be covered not just by me, but by our roving camera, courtesy Jaime. He's our man. Audio Bisuales Murcia. Well, the non-striker was in no doubt here, but striker very slow to set off. Aisha. She didn't appear interested in the single, although it was a long one. Aisha Sain got home with a fumble. I think she might have been in anyway, but it took her a long time to set off. She seemed to want to send the non-striker back, but non-striker's call was absolutely correct. So that means that Ramya Imadi comes down to strike, and well, this is something we've talked about, isn't it? The virtual free hit in cricket. That's a ball. That's a harmless ball down the leg side. Have a dart at it. See if you can hit it for a boundary. If you miss it, you're going to get the wide anyway. So just have a go at it, rather than a sort of passive watching of the wide go by.
Oh, I completely agree. I think you've just got to give yourself the best opportunity just to keep scoring runs, and anything down the leg side is a free hit, isn't it? As you've rightfully said, it's a free hit. So if you miss it, you still got the
The
wide.
virtual free hit, isn't it? I mean, you could pick out the fielder and get
No,
caught,
sorry, of course. But in terms of obviously a virtual free hit.
LBW's out of the equation. Well, just as I say LBW's out of the equation, that's exactly what's happened. I was, of course, referring to the previous ball, not that particular one. But there's been a swing across the line here. Oh, the two batters are getting together, look. This is the bit that confuses some commentators. Well,
Little chat.
fortunately we couldn't see where that ball pitched because the camera angle is just has the umpire's head blocking where the ball pitched. But I know that it pitched in line, and I know that it pitched in line because Mark Chappell gave it out.
Of course.
So certainly on that replay, from what we could see, we certainly couldn't see any evidence that would contradict that. Right, I'm going to see out the rest of this over with you, Thea, and then I'm going to become a kind of roving reporter, because I've got one captain present for the toss in our TV area, who I can see in the distance. That's Claire Crowe, and can exclusively reveal that Isle of Man will be wearing their red kit for this next match, because Claire's always in her match kit for the toss.
They look like nice new spikes as well, Claire. Half and half. Very nice.
The acoustics are amazing, considering how far away she is from us, aren't they?
I've just got fantastic ears.
that you're able to have a converse so comfortably from such a long distance away. So caveat here is we haven't got the Italy captain with us as yet.
Captain Kamudu, my favourite.
Captain Kamudu.
My favourite saying.
Sounds like it should be a gaming hero.
Oh, it's amazing.
Captain Kamudu.
So
yeah, you'd just like to see a bit more positive intent, I think.
I do. I think we've got to look at this in a format where Norway haven't batted out the whole innings yet, and they've hit their highest score of 54 currently so far, and I think they're doing incredibly well. But I think again they need to be competing here in terms of running between the wickets. They've got a chance to win this game. So we've still got Hassan at the crease. She's going well on 23 off 30, so she's slowed down a little bit in terms of strike rate, sorry. But this is what I want. I want these, so balls like that, they need to be going for runs, which they are, which is fantastic. So this is either going to race away to the boundary, which I hope it does,
which it will,
and it's going to pop on the boundary, and then that's a much needed for, as we just said, that we need the run rate to gather. So that was really, really good batting from Hassan. Anything short needs to be punished.
Yeah, you don't need me here.
I like having you here.
I've just wound you up and off you go. It's great. So I'm going to leave you to it. The next time you'll see me will be between overs for the toss, and enjoy the next over or so.
So you're coming back, aren't you?
I wouldn't do that to you. As in come back, but no, I will be with you for the end of the innings.
See you in a couple of overs. As the ball is struck again firmly over the top this time, aerial towards long gone, as long off's had to run all the way around, and they come back for a 2. It's a great start to the over, 6 coming from the first 2 deliveries. Grandcourt in her 3rd over has gone for 15, so being relatively expensive compared to the rest of her Spanish companions. As she comes into bowl, big swing across the line, relatively loud appeal, but not given. But this is great from Hassan. She's looking to score every ball. She can also think that she's got a new batter in at the crease who's only faced 3 balls. She's the in batter here, so she needs to be a little bit careful that she doesn't swing across the line too hard and get herself out and bring a second new batter to the crease. If she's here at the end, that could be That could be very, very good for Norway and make the game a lot closer than what previous viewers may have thought. But currently 60 for 3 off of 13.4. They're going strong. As I just finish off my scoring. Don't want to get behind with that. As a wide has just been bowled. Again, extras are not too bad. I think they're probably a little bit more prominent in this innings than they were in the previous. And that is driven beautifully through the covers. It won't run for 4, but they'll get a single as there's slight cover out there. So it looks to be a deep cover point looks like to be, it's quite hard to see from here, but about 10 or so yards off of the boundary. So we managed to cut off the 2 with 1 ball remaining in this over, as it's quite wide outside the off stump but not given, and that is a dot ball to finish the over. So 8 coming from that over, so good from Norway. They'll be very happy with that, taking the score to 62 for 3 off of 14. So Norway requiring 54 from 6 overs at a run rate of 9s. Currently they are going at 4s, 4.5, so they do need to up it from here. But again, we still have Hassan at the crease. She's going nicely, undefeated on 30 currently. Doing very well for her team. Aisha Hassan, as she faces, punches into mid-wicket for no run. Wania Arif Malik starting her second over. First over very tidy, 2 for 1. But Hassan needs to work hard here, because I think she's probably going to be the danger player. 31 off 37 now for her. But I don't think she can do it by herself. She needs a partner. She needs a partner to help support, help rotate. She can get down the other end of the single from Kamari. Get Hassan back on strike. Face as many of these last 4 overs as possible. But extras will help the Norwegians. Free runs, we like to call them. And of course, with every extra, the opposing team gets a run and an extra ball. You don't want to be bowling too many. As the bowler runs in, and he's just gently pushed into the offside for no run. So this is important. It's important to get Hassan back on strike if the Norwegians have any hope on winning this game, which they're in a good position, but we need to ensure that Hassan gets back on strike and faces as many of these last 4 overs as possible. A bit of a late delayed appeal, but no movement from the umpire. Mark Chappell, Birmingham lad from my neck of the woods ish. As that ball is bowled quite far down the leg side. Again, Spain need to be a bit more disciplined here with their bowling. I don't want to give Norway the runs. As the ball is placed into the offside for no run. We still have Claire Crowe, captain of the Isle of Man, stood to my left as she's waiting for the captain Kamudu Pedrick from Italy to join her for the toss of the next game. As the ball struck firmly into the offside, and they will run a single. Ball thrown in, a little bit messy with the throw, but in quickly nonetheless, as we've reached the end of the 15th over. 4 runs coming from that over. Takes the score up to 66 for 3. Almost doubling their first result for Norway. But again, and I've said time and time again, that it's really important for these teams to be facing out the 20 overs, regardless of the end result. Obviously a win's just as good, and that's what these teams are after, is the win, the big W. However, looking forward, looking to improve their cricket, batting out the 20 overs is just as important. As we have a change of bowler, so Amy Brown Carrera is coming back on at the Crocodile Club end, as we've been calling it, as she steams in, right arm over, and we have a play and a miss by Kamari, who is 1 from 9 deliveries. Again, I'll say it time and time again, and I think her partner Hassan is having this conversation with her. Just get bat on ball, because I need to get on strike. Spain have got, I'd say, one person who's sat on the boundary, a deep cover point, and 2, third and fine, are about halfway between the 25-yard circle and the boundary. Fine leg slightly coming further back, approaching the boundary, which is good move from her. And now another change, which they need to be careful here, because they actually have 5 out of the ring, which one of the umpires may have noticed. I think he might have done. If not, yeah, he's having a look round. I think he might call. If not, I might call for him, but he's looked round several times. I think they need to have a little discussion, because there are still 5 out, but if they've not noticed, then the fielding team have done well. But there are still 5 out of the ring as Amy Brown Carrera comes into bowl. I think there's definitely, there we go, and the arm is up. They've got 5 out, but they've been let off with 1 ball. The umpire finally notices. As Amy Brown Carrera runs in. Hassan on strike, hits it firmly back to the bowler. Unfortunately, no run. The single was taken when they needed it to, but unfortunately, she's not been able to capitalise on these rest of the delivery. That's 3 dot balls now she's faced. Score 67 for 3 as Brown Carrera runs in for her final delivery, and there's one more. I forgot. Oh no, I've got no extra for the no ball. Okay, that's end of the over. So we are back with Norway and Spain as we had a little interval whilst a toss was being done for the second game between Italy and Isle of Man. And I can report that we have just had a wicket for Spain. They've just dismissed Kamari. Bowled from Chilungia. Norway still a lot to do, and Hassan can only watch on from the non-striker's end, unfortunately, whilst she watches her teammates dot up out here. It is quite difficult to get off the mark as another wicket has been taken. Chilungia, she's doing her team justice here. 2 wickets within the over, both bowled. Ball not bouncing that high at all, but batters playing over the top, not getting enough of their head forward and playing the ball down along the floor. They are just sitting up, heads coming up, and they're playing over the top of the ball, which has resulted into 2 wickets being bowled, playing across the line to straight deliveries. It's not ideal, but 70 for 5 now. That is 70 for 5. The Norwegians will be happy with what they've produced at the moment, but I know Hassan is itching to get back on strike because all she can do is watch her team fall.
I'm back. I think I'm back.
I can't hear you. I hope the viewers can hear you, but I can't hear you.
I can't hear me either.
Oh. Can we reveal the news of the toss? Is that allowed?
Yeah. I thought did it not go out live?
I mean, it wasn't on here. So hopefully it did.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Isle of Man have won the toss and they've decided to bat.
I'm concerned I can't hear you.
I'm concerned too.
Well, I'm going to just repeat that just in case. Apologies if you could, and you are hearing it for a second time, but the Isle of Man have won the toss for the second game against Italy, and they have chosen to bat first. As Chilungia comes in to finish her over and finishes with a single. Hassan will be happy that she was on strike. However, so it was Hussein that was just on strike. I'm just trying to get my bearings correct here. No, we're right. So Hassan faced the last ball of that over, hit a single. Now she will be facing the next set from, looks to be still Amy Brown Carrera, which is excellent. She's had quite a good spell so far. Not for 18, but she's saying that she's just been clubbed over the head of cover for a couple of runs if she can get back, but it looks like it's going to be a run out opportunity, and it is. She has picked up the ball cleanly, great piece of fielding out in the deep, and it's moments like that where actually if the fielder is just slightly off the boundary because it's such a long way out there, then that too is cut off, and we've just seen it. But for Norway's, I say for their relief, I guess, if we could say relief at this point of losing a wicket, Hassan is still out there. Aisha Hassan is still out in the middle, so we don't know what can happen, but the ball was taken cleanly by Amy Brown Carrera, and she just calmly took the bails off, resulting into a simple run out. But nonetheless, with 3 overs to go, I think that probably wasn't actually the worst thing that could have happened, because it's got Aisha Hassan back on strike, if I'm going to look at this in a very optimistic vision.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Lovely.
Welcome back.
Nice to be back.
It's great to have you here.
We're still, yeah, this is all still developing all the time. Our viewers may have noticed that you stopped talking for about an over or so, which is, yeah, some would say is no bad thing, but that would be very harsh. The intention was that you were going to see the toss during that period, but it didn't quite work out that way. We're still developing our relationship with our partners at Audiovisuales Murcia, so we've still got a day and a bit to sort this out, but yep, didn't come out quite how we wanted. But can confirm.
Oh! What a grab!
Unbelievable catch.
Amy Brown-Carrera.
That surely is the moment of the tournament. Outstanding.
That is incredible. What a grab. Follow through. We've said, every court and bowl is a different difficult catch.
We're getting a replay already. Hopefully the umpire won't get in the way of this one. Yeah, he gets out of the way just in time. Well done, Nilkesh Patel. He gets, quite rightly, saving his own skin, getting out of the way.
Even better replay here.
Look at this.
Smash back straight down, reached out, grabbed right-handed. She's had to change her momentum as well because she would have been in the process of the run-off here. Amy Brown-Carrera, that is moment of the tournament for me so far.
Yeah.
And it's
agreed.
Got rid of Aisha Hassan, who we can't take away the fact that her teammates are clapping her off. She has had a fantastic innings. 33, and to be dismissed like that, something special had to get rid of her, and it was.
Yeah, very special. That is a moment that will stick in my mind from this tournament. Above all others, as things stand. After the Lord Mayor show, here we go again.
And we're calm.
Solidly in behind that. Lopamudra is the new batter on strike. And it's all happening in the middle, but this game is going inexorably Spain's way. They'll be very pleased. I just mentioned at the toss, which you'll see in a while, that Spain and Italy will be on, we would think, will be on 2 wins from 2 games once this match is finished. And Isle of Man have shown what they're capable of doing, so that match is by no means a foregone conclusion. So it's all to play for. Are you going to be tuning in tomorrow during your travels?
Yeah, I think I might.
I'd be disappointed if you didn't.
Oh, so would I. Now I know it's on Cricket España YouTube channel. And I'm guessing those who can hear me know that because they'll be watching it.
They do know that, yeah.
Exactly.
That's a bit of sort of loop advertising something that's already being used.
Yeah, well.
So, a lot to do here for Lopamudra. She's going to be facing up at the start of this over.
Oh, we can watch that replay time and time again because you don't see many of those catches even in, you know, the English leagues and the, as you would like to say, main sporting cricketing countries. That was fantastic.
Payal Chulunga is going to bowl this important over. Looks like Spain are on their way to victory here. This over could snuff the match out completely. She starts with a wide, so not the ideal start. But I think Payal's got it in her to drop it on the spot here. Not a lot of intent there.
Just go all out here.
Kunaratnam. Yeah, you're not going to get these over 20 and over by blocking out. Sounds obvious. Quick single. Well, of course, you'd rather have the single than not have it, but what it just means is we're now up to 4 runs per ball required, which is a tall order when you consider the scarcity of boundaries we've had in this tournament generally. Bit of width, right intent, wrong execution. It always amazes me when strikers do this. The umpire's made his decision. Well, I think
I do that all the time. Well, you didn't. No, don't. Honestly, we challenge. Yeah. We get.
The umpire's clearly made their mind up, and he's done say, "Is that a wide?" Well, obviously not, because otherwise it would have been signalled. That one is a wide.
Was.
Maybe that's the reason. Yeah, trying to challenge the umpire for the next ball. Payal Chulunga, I don't know if you've noticed that Mark Chappell's standing in a completely orthodox position, but Payal, there's not much of her, She's passing right between the umpire and the stumps. Hasn't asked for any extra room, which bowlers often do when they're bowling through, round and through. One of those strange cricketing expressions where it's expressed in the wrong order.
I used to do that, bowl round and through.
Yeah.
But I wonder if she knows that she can ask.
Well, she doesn't need to because there's
no.
nothing of her. She has got quite a square approach. Rather than some bowlers that bowl through have a straight approach. She comes from quite wide. Do you know the other two cricket expressions that are expressed chronologically the wrong way around? Because when you say round and through, it's actually through you do first and then you go round, don't you? See what I mean?
Caught and bowled.
Caught and bowled, very good. God, I don't think anyone's ever got that as quickly. I've sat that one. Caught and bowled, yeah, of course you do.
It helps when it's the first thing that went into my head. It's like caught and bowled.
It's the bowling you do first, of course, then the catching. So,
of course.
Yeah, that's two off the last ball there has just technically kept them in chance, the chance of a tie. 37 required off the last over, but of course we haven't seen a 6 in the tournament yet, so that just gives you an impression of how unlikely it is. So do you want McDonald though? It's not actually. It's more of a playground cricket thing. So it's lower brow, shall we say? Are you close to getting the third one?
Oh, there was another one. Sorry, I didn't even think.
No, you were so delighted getting caught and bowled so quickly.
So we've got round and through, caught and bowled.
Yeah. More of a playground one, this one.
More of a playground one.
Playground rules. Or
you know what? I'm honestly not too sure.
Oh, Mark's dropped something on the floor. Just realised. Do you give up?
I do. Yeah. My brain doesn't want to think.
I thought you were going to say it then.
Oh. No. I'm going to give up my brain.
Okay.
Go on.
One hand, one bounce.
Oh, well that doesn't happen here.
Well, I said there's
That's why you said playground, yeah.
Yeah, it's a playground one, yeah.
And it's one bounce,
cricket.
one hand.
Yeah, because what happens first? The bouncing, then the hand.
Okay. Yeah, my head was definitely not going in the direction of that.
But I'll tell you peaked with caught and bowled. It was going to be difficult to back that up because you were so quick. And talking about quick.
Oh, that is collected.
That is not quick enough. It's a tremendous bit of fielding.
That ball was gathered beautifully.
Well, this was had a good match, hasn't she? And she just came in, took that on the half volley, and almost in one smooth movement, whipped off the bails. Had a feeling the batter was going to be well short, but her speed just made it absolutely
she did it.
certain.
It wasn't clean. She's palmed it on.
She's palmed it on?
Yeah, she's taken it and kind of pushed it on.
Ah,
That's even better. Even better from Uzwa.
Well, she's
you tell me.
well up there for player of the match, in my opinion.
Oh, she's had a tremendous day.
Don't like player of the match being chosen by an app, do you?
No, I don't.
Because
no.
An app can't get a feel for the game like watching it can. You know?
Is that what it does for these games? Is it from an app?
Well, I think the app puts it forward.
Right.
It suggests from the data it suggests a player of the match, but yeah, as I say, there's no replacement for the feel of a match watching it. Cricket is a stats-based game, of course, but not stats alone. Meanwhile, this has been a very good over rate.
It has.
Care to mention that? Spain are going to get through their overs in about an hour and a quarter, 16 per hour. I say very good. It's
what it should be. It's expected.
16 hours really isn't that dramatic, but we have seen these matches extend on. What it means is we'll only have a short delay to the second match of the day because it's not quite 12 o'clock yet. We just go through the last motions of this match with Naomi Hillman Bernejo, or Bermejo I should say, bowling as steadily as ever. It's only gone for 6 runs and she's well into her third over. And ultimately this will be good for Spain's net run rate because their win last night, although they'll take the win with both hands, won't have been that good. especially when you find net run rate gets diminished by Duckworth-Lewis-Stern results. This one looks like they're going to win by just under 2 per over. As we see, well, that's a little bit unexpected.
Why not finish on a bye?
A bye to the keeper off the last ball is something you normally see in the first innings, or when there's 1 run to win off the last ball, or something like that. But quite unusual to see it when there's 37 required. But a great last over by Naomi Hillman-Bermejo.
It took Norway that single to 80, so it's always better saying 80. You got 80 in that game instead of 79.
Yeah, it's an even number. They're always a little bit more attractive, aren't they?
Exactly.
Having said that, 3 and 9 are your favourite numbers, so maybe I'm speaking to the wrong person. But
yeah, true.
That's by the by. That's a comfortable victory in the end for Spain. There were times when it wasn't going their way, but to turn out winners by 35 runs is good from them. Naomi Hillman-Bermejo, despite what it says on your screen, that's her name. Top scoring, 43 or 42. Doesn't quite get onto the bowling list. I'm not, by dint of not taking a wicket, but bowl very economically. Other player to watch, someone who appears twice on that one, Saeed, 24 or 40. So quite slow, but a rebuilding job was required. 1 for 11, very tight off her 4 overs. One thing that doesn't mention is a very slick run out. But of course, the moment of the match, Amy Brown Carrera with that tremendous caught and bowled in the fingertips, crossing, changing her momentum, taking it actually just slightly to the onside of middle stump. So it just shows you how much ground she covered to dive and take that catch. Just wonderful. That really will stick in the mind. So Spain will be pleased. We're going to have a very quick turnaround here because it has just gone 12 o'clock here at Desert Springs Cricket Ground, province of Almeria, southern Spain. We will need to have a sweeping of the pitch. We're also going to have a roll, so we won't be starting absolutely straight away, but we'll be back shortly with you for coverage of Italy and the Isle of Man. Before we do that, Thea, I think you should give us a quick World Cup update now that we're not talking over any of the action that's going on in the middle here at Desert Springs.
No problem. So in Melbourne, Australia, as we know, England are facing Pakistan. England needing 138 to win. England are currently 82 for 3 off 11.5. There has been a referral, so I believe it's Harry Brook from what I noticed. So Harry Brook, potential caught behind. Pakistan review given not out. So hopefully he hasn't got anything on the ball as it comes through now. Very close to the bat, but we'll see. And fingers crossed that the boys get over the line because they're now requiring above a runner ball. So we'll see. I'd like to steal back England, and it looks like Harry Brook has not edged that, so he'll be safe.
I think it's actually Ben Stokes.
Ben Stokes is out, isn't it?
Ben Stokes is out? Okay.
Oh, no, he's not.
I'm just thinking.
I saw Brook. Sorry, I saw Harry Brook. That is terrible for me. It is Ben Stokes.
I was just thinking.
Because I saw Harry Brook. Sorry, he's left-handed.
Well, I was just thinking the last time I saw Harry Brook bat, he was batting right-handed.
Sorry,
so it's okay.
Everybody.
That's all right.
Good start.
That's a good time to take a break. I'm fairly sure that we'll be back underway before that World Cup final finishes. So we will perhaps try and even up the coverage, although we will concentrate, of course, on the action here at Desert Springs. But we will bring you regular updates on that World Cup final as England look to secure their 2nd ever title and their 3rd ever World Global Trophy. Back with you shortly. Look forward to having your company.